Till the count of 5.
What's going on, guys?
He did get in trouble.
Justin here, back with another episode of the podcast. Till the count of 5. To my left, as always.
What's up, guys?
I don't want to pick up on that intro.
The intro was that.
I'm still thinking about Michael P.S. Hayes.
So, if you can't hear from the third voice over here, we have a guest this week, comedian Hunter Roberts.
Hey, everybody. That's how you do it.
Yeah.
Jason, when he throws it to you,
Fuck it, I'm
immediately
leaving.
Jump in. You don't just
If this wasn't my house, I'd fucking leave right now.
take a fucking nap over there.
Yeah.
That's-
I couldn't get the music to quit playing.
Everybody was just sitting here, and I was like, fuck, what do I do?
Just go,
Panic.
man. Just go, man.
Plugs. Do the plugs.
Wrestling Matters to Us group on Facebook and Twitter. Xander is a badass.
Yeah, he's been doing a thing this week, like a Pro Wrestling Champions tribute. Anyone that's been in like any fucking promotion you could think of.
That's ever had a belt. Which
Yeah.
we got to get Hunter O'Malley on there.
What?
Hunter O'Malley.
Oh, that's right.
This is the guy we saw on YouTube earlier.
That asshole, he did win
Yeah.
a few belts. He won a few belts.
He was a champ somehow.
Yeah.
He was, I think, a 5-time champion.
Jesus.
2 tag team titles, 2 television titles, and then the PWF Heavyweight Championship.
Damn.
He also won the red carpet rollout and the one-way ticket. He was Rookie of the Year and proceeded to wrestle in 4 Match of the Years. He was pretty fucking decorated for somebody who was not very good.
Jesus Christ!
I want to say the most decorated, probably the most decorated person in that company is what Hunter O'Malley was. He, but didn't deserve any of it. I want to say that.
He's a beautiful man, though.
Yeah.
A beautiful man.
Back then, he was,
back then. Well, okay, yeah, back then.
the hair started to
Yeah.
Now he's kind of an old college man.
Yeah,
But
just schlubby, balding piece of shit with rosacea.
who tells jokes for a fucking living.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway,
It's
Other
a fun-
plugs.
other plugs.
You gotta plug your wife again.
Again? God almighty.
You've done that enough.
I'm not a machine.
You've done it at least twice. I mean,
It's only twice.
Yeah.
Twice, and she was asleep both times.
yeah.
That is not something you should say online.
Oh,
That's a
no.
little. That's a little sexual assaulty.
She's not going to
This is
listen
the
anyway.
last episode. That
Nobody that's willing to tell her is going to listen to this
This is the
shit
last
anyway.
episode of Till the Count of 5 you'll ever hear.
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah, she can fix any kind of custom-made shirts, car decals, whatever. She's a badass when it comes to all that stuff, so look it up. Message me, I'll hook you up with her, whatever, to where she can give you whatever shirt, anything you want.
Yeah, we got a couple of cool designs coming up for some shows. Later
Yeah,
on
yes
this
we
year.
do.
Yeah.
Yes we do. You got what else you got?
God, what other plugs do we have? We usually have this wrote down.
Make sure to check out the We Are But Men podcast network
Yeah.
on Podbean. That is my podcast network. We've got about 3 or 4 different shows on there that we do. I've got a new one that I'm working on, but I'm trying to record about 5 or 6 episodes of it before I ever release a single one of it, because sometimes you all podcast,
Yeah.
you can get behind, and,
Oh,
and
yeah,
that
yeah.
sucks a big bag of dicks. So I'm trying to record a bunch of them. I will say it's Disney themed because I'm a man of many hats.
This is true.
Yeah, so it will be Disney.
I'm intrigued
themed.
about this.
No, like my dude's a freak when it comes to Disney
Yeah,
movies.
big time,
Really?
giant,
Yeah.
big old giant Disney nerd.
Nice.
It's
I
one
like
of the
some
things
Disney
that
movies.
I'm better known for. I think my new stand-up material right now, I think it has about 10 different Disney references in it. It's
Nice.
pretty evident that I have the skills of a misspent youth is what I call it.
Yeah.
That's a matter of opinion.
Yeah.
A matter of opinion.
But We Are But Men podcast network. It's on Podbean. You guys are on Podbean too,
Yes,
aren't you?
Yeah.
yes, we are doing Podbean and YouTube, so it'll be on both again.
There you go.
And I guess we got indie power rankings for
Yeah.
the week, because we told them we'd do it every week as long as they keep sharing our shit. So
And they keep sharing
they
our
keep
shit,
sharing it, so
yeah.
we'll keep talking about
They
it.
keep making that mistake, so
Thank you very much for screwing up.
All right, coming in at number 10, J.J. Garrett, the king of swag, apparently.
swag.
King of swag.
The king of swag.
Swag.
Yeah.
Okay.
I didn't think people still use that word.
I think that maybe that's the joke. like maybe he's a heel,
Yeah.
and he's the king of swag.
Yes.
I feel like if you wrestled in this area and you were the king of swag, you would definitely be a heel.
Oh,
yeah.
you'd be a douche.
Yeah,
No.
you'd have to be.
Like everyone just
Oh my
Fuck
god!
trying to decide-
I have to tell
Oh,
you
wait a
all
minute.
this, not to interrupt the power
Oh, no,
rankings
you're
or
great.
anything, but when Teague and I were tag team champions, when we were the Fighting O'Malley's, we were wanting to do this really stupid storyline. It's real dumb, where we got concussions and forgot who we were.
Oh my
But we
God.
came back, but instead of coming back as the Fighting O'Malley's, we were this like super yuppie like 19. Basically what Joey Ryan's doing now.
Oh my
But we were gonna
gosh.
do this on like on the local scene. But this was probably fucking almost 10 years ago, and we were just gonna be like super douchey, like fucking rich dudes, and like we were gonna call ourselves the Beverly Heels, and but we weren't even gonna be Irish. We were just gonna be American, and like wear these like fucking shitty glasses and like pleather outfits, and like fucking it was gonna be ridiculous. But like we were like, man, nobody will get this. Like, and then lo and behold, 10 years later, Joey
Ryan's doing a dick
dick flips to everybody.
Yeah. Wow.
But yeah, we would have basically been the kings of swag.
Yeah.
Is what that was. That whole storyline.
You could have invented the dick flip.
the dick flip. That
10 years
could have
ago.
been me.
It could have been you.
All right. Number 9, Joe Black. We've seen this.
Joe
guy before.
Black. I
Really
like Joe
cool dude.
Black.
Is that Brad Pitt in that movie? Meet Joe Black.
Damn.
Is that right?
Isn't
Yeah,
he in
it
a
is.
movie called Meet
Yeah,
Joe Black?
Meet Joe
Where
Black.
he's like death or whatever, and he gets
Yeah.
hit by a car at the end.
Not
I don't
only can he act, but he can wrestle
know.
too.
Yeah, he's pretty good.
Apparently he beat Jason Kincaid, which is one of our guys, obviously. Anthony Henry, who's been at NWA a few times, and he beat Chase Owens
In a 30-minute scramble match in
What?
West Virginia.
What is a scramble match?
Scramble
you
match.
keep going
Yeah.
for 30 minutes, and whoever has the last pinfall
Oh, okay.
decision
They
win
did
at
that.
the
They
end
did
of the-
that.
Yeah.
That was it. Unforgiven. Like probably
Yeah.
6 years ago, they did that for all 3
Okay.
titles at the time. Which again, I'm really sad that they never brought that back because that was a really interesting pay per view. You got, I think it was 5 people in each match, the championship scramble
Yeah.
matches. So you had like the Brian Kendrick in a match against like Triple H, and
Yeah.
you know like. CM Punk was supposed to be. That's how CM Punk lost his title.
Yeah.
The first time he won it because he got attacked backstage by Legacy. God, I know too much about stuff.
No,
and then
it's a
Jericho
beautiful thing.
came in after Shawn Michaels beat his ass in that fucking no disqualification. What's the one where they signed the paper and you can't no holds barred? Whatever.
No holds barred.
Yeah, no holds barred.
Unsanctioned. That unsanctioned
Unsanctioned.
match.
Yeah.
And so that led to Shawn and Chris and that awesome ladder match they had.
Yeah.
Oh, that was a good ladder match.
That was a great match.
Anyway, sorry. That's what a scramble match is.
Yeah,
They
yeah,
should bring them
that's a
back.
scramble
Yeah.
It was also one of the only times when a guy won, does that make him a champion?
No.
It didn't. That was
doesn't-
because
it doesn't
we argued.
technically make you
Yeah,
a
because we
champion.
all argued that because until the last fall, you don't technically have a winner.
All right,
But-
number
go
8, AR Fox, one of the is it CZW guys.
But
Is that where he's based? Is that where he's based out of though? Is that
I
his
don't-
home promotion?
He travels around a lot.
Anyway,
He does some crazy
AEW
shit.
Heritage and Dreamwage Alternative Champion defeated Connor Braxton, Dave Chris, Desmond Xavier, Kevin Lee Davidson, Stephen King. Stephen King's
Stephen
wrestling
King,
now
son of a
apparently.
bitch.
Stephen King.
Bit old.
Stephen King and Joe Black. Showing different sides of themselves.
And Zachary Wentz in a 6-way scramble at Wrestling Revolver on June 10th. So he apparently beat the shit out of everyone this week. Cool. Number 7, Timothy Thatcher. One dude's going to be coming up in the PWG show. PWG 13,
Yeah, I
a
remember
really
you saying
big ass
that.
card.
Yep. What else you got?
Let's see here. Scrolling up. Drew Galloway.
Drew Galloway.
Second, second time this week, or second time this month.
Doesn't he hold like 93 titles right now?
Yeah, I
like,
think
isn't that
so.
his thing? He's just
Like he won the matches at Evolve. I know that him and EC3 tagged against Johnny Gargano.
Yeah, and then
Ethan
he,
Page.
yeah.
there was.
But he lost to Bobby Lashley Sunday.
Nah,
Not that anybody watched the TNA pay per view.
not that anybody could. There was like technical difficulties.
Oh, that
or
was the
some shit.
Pop
Yeah.
show this
Yeah.
week. Yeah,
Pop fucked it
that
up,
fucking-
yeah.
Pop was
It's like-
poor TNA caught all the shit too though.
Yeah.
and he had nothing to do. TNA was going, guys. It's not us.
Yeah,
it's really
well.
not.
I mean, here's the thing: they fucked up so much that, like, at a
You-
certain point, you think it's
You
them.
just think
Was
it's
it they
them.
put there was that one picture that they put online where it like listed somebody as the wrong goddamn name, and it's like they're taped. You know what I'm saying? Like they go through production. Several people have to look at something, and
Bobby-
it still made it to
Bob-
air with the wrong.
Bobby,
Somebody
what,
called
the
Davey.
thing Mike kills me. They do the taping so far. So like you find out spoilers now. Everybody knows
Yeah.
spoilers. Bobby Roode's still on TV up until like 2 weeks ago, and meanwhile he's on NXT.
Yeah.
and it's like, guys, you look fucking stupid.
Oh, that's the reason why WWE's doing that brand split, and they're switching because SmackDown's on Tuesdays anyway.
Yeah.
Now they're just going to go ahead and air it live on Tuesdays because they're sick of spoilers
Right.
going online. which is one of the reasons. I mean, I would like to assume is I don't know anybody or anything, but like, my connections in the WWE.
Could have been a contender.
That's why they're going live with it.
That's what I thought too. Because you get spoilers every week, and everybody knows what happens.
I'm turning over the top 5 to you.
Oh, Santana Garrett.
Yeah.
Yeah, she was like number 1 in their top 100 last year.
Yep.
So she's basically like a badass when it comes to the women. Yamamoto had an insane week as he dominated Dragon Gate in Japan last week. He did a lot of cool ass shit. I'm not gonna read all that. Pete Dunne comes in at number 3. He's the RPW Cruiserweight Champion. Defeated Tyler Bate, Chris Brooks, lots of people. Number 2, damn, that's the same guy, isn't it? Josh Alexander.
Yeah, I believe so.
For the second year straight, the IWC Super Indie Tournament winner comes in just behind the CZW Tournament of Death winner,
which is our guy. We kind of talked about this before. Yeah,
I predicted this shit.
Ricky Shane Page is coming in at number 1. He won the Tournament of Death, which Pablo over here picked up pretty quick.
Anyway,
yeah, we flew through that this week.
Mainly because we want to hear Hunter talk.
Yeah,
oh, God, don't blame me for that. Oh, no. People wanted to hear that, and now I'm the problem.
I know. See, if you have any...
I'm killing your sponsors.
Yeah.
Well, the show was fun, and then they had this asshole on.
They don't give us money. It doesn't matter.
Now, for money, we'll talk about your stuff for the whole hour
day.
All day long. We'll do a 24-hour podcast just for you. Anyway, so Hunter's with us. I've known Hunter for... Damn.
Yeah, it's been a while. Went to high school together.
Yeah.
Well, technically went to middle school together is where it started. We were on the football team.
Yeah.
I played football. I understand that I don't look like that. I explained
we just
this to
discussed
somebody,
this though.
I explained this to people. I was like, I was captain of the football team growing up, and like I don't look like a captain of anything now except like maybe Crunch. Like I do love my cereals, but like I look drastically different now than what I used to look like. But yeah, no, I played football in high school, and that led to wrestling.
Yes.
So I did that for a bit.
That's
he played quarterback when I was at center too.
Yeah.
So like we've met.
We've met in the biblical sense.
In the biblical sense,
met.
I believe he touched my ass before most people ever did.
Yeah, but you were asleep both times.
He was gentle though. He was very gentle.
I was a gentle lover.
Damn, I should have took that route, going straight from football to wrestling.
Well, it didn't go straight
wait a
there.
minute. It didn't go straight.
It didn't go straight there. A lot of stuff. Okay, let me tell you the story of how Hunter became a professional wrestler. It's not a happy tale. It really isn't. It's like now I can look back on it and laugh, but it really was a weird time period that of how I got to where I was. I was in college. Graduated from Gate City, and then went to school in Radford, Virginia, which is like 20 miles from fucking Virginia Tech. It's like right next to it. Yeah. Collegeburg is what it's called. That whole area up there. But I was up there and I had a TV show up there on the campus channel called The Hunter Show. And from I was there, then I started doing plays in the theater department because acting's what I've always wanted to do. It's what I always wanted to do when I was a kid. And then I started dating a girl. I know, it's crazy. And that didn't work. I know, crazy.
The fact he was dating a girl was...
Yeah, that's insane enough.
That was the first step.
This sounds like that little pilot type thing you had for the show.
But that didn't work. We broke up, and I was very sad about that. And my friend, T. Quillen, decided to cheer me up, and he was like, hey, man... Because we both loved wrestling. We both watched it as kids. And he was like, hey, man, I saw this flyer for this fucking wrestling show in Bristol at the VFW. Come in for the weekend, and I'll buy your drinks. I know you're sad. I'll buy you a bunch of drinks, and we'll go watch this fucking wrestling show. And we did, and it was, to this day, the worst thing I have ever seen in my entire life. And Teague and I immediately looked at each other and went, we can do better than this. And that's how we basically got into wrestling. We tried to find people to train us, and we had a hard time finding people to train us. We went to the CWA at the time, and we're like, hey, we want to be wrestlers because that's, they were the big company in the area, and they were like, sure, absolutely, come and help us set up the ring. We'll show you some things. We did that for about 3 months. We set up the ring, and as soon as we set up the ring, they told us to get out of the ring because they all had to work on spots, which basically meant they just stood in the ring and talked. And we did that for 3 months, setting up the ring, and then taking the ring down and never learning a thing. And I understand that that's what you do. You know what I'm saying? But at the same time, don't bullshit me. like at least tell me that that's what's going to happen. Don't. Right. I don't know. So that's where I was with wrestling and my whole. So then eventually, Teague and I got into the ring. Teague and I just kill her. Just murdered her like Bane.
Yeah, the kids. Nobody got murdered.
No one's. Everyone's still alive. But we jumped into the ring after the show one night, and Teague and I just kind of fucked around, and Teague delivered a shining wizard to me. That was apparently beautiful. I don't remember it. I've talked about this with Teague, where like he was like, "All right, let's do the shining wizard thing." I was like, "Okay," and I was laying there, and I was like on one knee, and then I saw Teague coming at me, and that was the last thing I remember because he knocked me out cold. But then I woke up, and everybody was like, "Oh!" like losing their shit about how great it was, and then because of that, some other wrestlers from another company decided that they wanted to train us. And they told us that it was going to be X amount of money to train us, which turned out to be way too much amount of money to train anyone per time that they trained us. We paid twice, I think, and then never paid again. And then they just started putting us on shows.
This was the PWF, right?
That was not PWF.
No, not PWF.
That was not PWF. That was, I think it was SFW. Stars of Wrestling.
The Stars. Oh yeah, the Stars of Wrestling.
Stars of Wrestling in Bristol.
Was that Duggar's show?
Mikey.
Yeah, Mikey.
Yeah,
Mikey Duggar's show.
Mikey, and then fucking Cody Isis is the one that was training us.
Yeah,
and he was teaching us like headlocks and shit. And I was like, I already know this. And we I think it was like $50 each time we went to train. We paid him $50, and we learned headlocks 2 times in a row, and I was like, "We had it the first time, so like I've paid you $100 to teach me headlocks."
Yeah, we're gonna make sure you've got this now.
Yeah, and again, like it's very like shitty of me to even be like, "Well, I mean, come on," but like, I understand that training takes time, but it's at the same time, it's like, man, I paid you $100 to do some fucking headlocks.
Yeah,
like, and so that's just I don't know. That's so then they put us. They liked us because Teague and I were entertaining.
Oh,
at that point, we'd come up with the Fighting O'Malley's,
which was awesome.
And so they put us on. I think it was Thanksgiving. I think it was a Thanksgiving show. They had Eugene there.
Wow.
He was the big name that they brought in. It was Eugene, and there was a big battle royal. And the plan was for Teague and I to go into the battle royal and basically just work each other because we didn't know anything. You know what I'm saying? Like we were just gonna go in and like hit each other for a little bit, do a cactus clothesline, go over the top rope. So we went in, and I went in first, and I only knew like 2 people that were workers at the time, and it was I knew Payne. What's his name? Lenny.
Yeah, Lenny Stratton.
Lenny Stratton.
He was Alex
I knew
Payne.
Yeah. He was just Payne.
Just Payne.
He didn't have the Alex.
part.
Him and his name was Tennessee Lightning. He wound up becoming Ultimate Lightning, and then he wound up, I guess, quitting. But I think he was just Tennessee Lightning at the time. I rolled into the ring. I saw Lightning. I knew him. I went over and kicked him in the back, and was like, "Oh man, I'm real sorry." Like, because I rocked him real hard, and I was like, I've never been good with kicks, like ever. My punches are like beautiful. I've got those Kurt Angle discus punches, and I love those. But my kicks have never been good, and I went in and kicked the shit out of him, and I was like, oh dude, I'm real sorry. So like I basically just had to like sit there and like punch Lightning for like another minute before Teague came in, and then Teague and I just started fighting. And Teague set me up on the turnbuckle. And I was like, what are you doing? And he was like, I don't know. And so then he just said, DDT me. And I went, okay. And what he meant was do a tornado DDT. But he didn't explain that to me. So I just, like, he was standing there, and instead of, like, jumping and spinning with him, I just jumped, latched on, and fell straight down. Yeah.
Shit.
And he was fine. It looked like I took his life, though. And the audience popped big as fuck. And, like, there were other wrestlers there that Travis Dykes saw it and thought it was...
Yeah, Travis.
Travis Dykes saw it, thought it was the coolest thing ever. We wound up talking to him after the show. And then Teague and I did the Christmas show, the next one. And then we had an actual match. It was a 6-man hardcore match where Teague and I were on opposite teams. Because we didn't, again, Teague and I didn't know shit.
You two just work each other.
Yeah, so it's just, we just work each other. And we knew enough from, like, watching TV and just being, again, just natural athletes. Teague had a background in karate. I had a background in football. And again, we both grew up watching it and everything. And so we could do stuff. But so then we just got over. And we were very fortunate that we got to learn on the job. Because we could just do hardcore matches, and Teague and I were good enough on a microphone with our character work that we could constantly just be doing stuff, and then we'd be in there with people that were better than us that would teach us while we were doing it, which worked wonders for us. But we did that Christmas show, and then we talked to Travis again, and Travis was like, "We've got to bring these guys in," because again the crowd loved us. And then I got a call from Josh Crawford, asking us if we would do a show in Rogersville. I think it was in January. And we were originally supposed to wrestle the PWF Tag Team Champions, the Death Riders.
The Death Riders.
That for that one. And then 2 days before the show, online it changed to a triple threat Coney Island street fight. Like tag team street fight. It was me and Teague as a tag team versus The Fallen, which was Travis Dykes and Matt Storm, and Pain and Lightning. Were the other team. Wow. So that was our first match in PWF, and we never wrestled for another company ever again.
Right.
Because we found our home. Like everybody else had been rather shitty to us, and then this group welcomed us with fucking open arms, and didn't view what we were doing as stupid.
Because I was around then and saw some of the stuff, and like I know some people are going to listen, they're going to be like, "Who the hell are y'all talking about?" Like the way you can equate it to, and this is what I told him because he asked me earlier. He's like, "What was PWF?" And like, because he didn't know about all the stuff and the angle and all that. I'm like, basically, PWF was kind of like your mini ECW. Like they were the outcasts, the guys who weren't like the WCW, WWF looking guys who were actually doing like wrestling. They were the characters, the guys you wanted to watch, and they do crazy shit.
We were telling stories.
Yeah.
That was, we weren't having, it's again, we were very fortunate that I was given, I got to write my own stories the entire time. The entire time I was there, I was given creative control of my character from day one. Every once in a while, there'd be something that would come up, and I'd be able to argue my point, and I would usually win. But so you wouldn't get that in any other company. You know what I'm saying?
No.
Like so there was a lot more. We would have big giant writing meetings, where we would bring in like 10 people and we would all sit in a room and we would hash shit out and we would figure out a plan for everybody, and we would figure out, like characters and how things were going to work for certain people and names and stuff like that. It wasn't just going through one person. It was like a giant organization. And this was again when I first started, and then eventually it got whittled down to just a few people that were doing it.
Right.
By the time I left, it was basically myself, Josh Crawford, and John Morehouse. We were basically the three head writers, head bookers for the whole company at the time. And again, other people had their own stories that we let them be in charge of. Menace basically did whatever he wanted, came in, did his thing. And but for the most part, the three of us were the ones that were doing all of the booking towards the end.
This is changing the subject completely, but okay, I have a question about something that happened with Menace. It was a show, I'm pretty sure it's in Kingsport. And it was Menace versus Johnny Knievel, which is Vince Morant now. And like he did the swing thing like Cesaro does. And when he let go of him, he hits the turnbuckle in the bottom corner. and it was like it knocked Vince out, or
Oh, it really did.
okay. See, I was wondering because they made us leave, like go outside of the building, and while stuff was going on.
Unless they pulled one over on the boys, it really did knock him out.
Because I know his mom was like pissed and screaming, which is normal. But
that hasn't changed.
But she's in it a lot. You know what I'm saying? She's in on the thing a lot, and I use that to my advantage when I was a heel. I would fuck with her a lot because she knew what was going on. But like I'm pretty sure that was real. But then we used it as a storyline.
Right.
That his fucking brain was fucked up. The same way that happened with Shawn. When he got beat up outside that nightclub, Shawn Michaels, when he got beat up outside that nightclub, and then like it fucked his brain up, and then Owen Hart kicked him in the head, and that's what put him on the shelf, not him getting the shit beat out of him outside of a nightclub. So when he came back, everybody was like, "Oh no, is his brain okay?" From when Owen Hart kicked him. So we turned it into a storyline, I believe, but I'm pretty sure it was legit.
Like it was one of those like when it happened, I was kind of like, I'm pretty sure like this wasn't part of the plan.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he got actually not fucking silly. I
always wondered about that.
I'm pretty sure.
Right.
I'm not 100% positive, but the only way that it didn't happen is if they pulled one over on the boys.
Right.
Because that was just because everybody, we were told that that's what happened.
Right.
Even the workers were told that that's what was happened. So unless they fucking lied to us,
right.
Then yes, he got knocked out. But otherwise, it happens. I
was gonna say, give me a horror story. I know you.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I quit my last two matches. I got a concussion in my last two matches, which were a week apart. So it was like really, And so like when I tell you all, like we talked about it earlier, when I tell you all that I'm never going back, that's why. Like I can chart my memory loss to that first real bad concussion. I'd gotten them before then. I didn't realize that I'd gotten them until I got a really bad one.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, this has happened a bunch of times. I was wrestling Travis Dykes in Volunteer, the first ever show at Volunteer. It was a charity show. It was a street fight, I think.
I'm sure.
It wasn't Coney Island because we wanted to protect Travis because the Coney Island street fight was his thing.
His match.
And he never lost us. So I think it was a Dublin street fight because that was my thing. So I think it was a Dublin street fight, and we wrestled each other, and we called the whole thing in the back. And again, this is just hearsay. This is just what I've been told. We called the whole match in the back, and we had this great little, there was going to be weapons and stuff, but there was going to, because Travis and I always had this thing, especially with Travis, where there was this stigma that Travis couldn't work. That Travis just did hardcore shit. And every time I worked with Travis, we always wanted to dispel that.
Right.
We had this fucking giant match at the finale over the TV title. It wound up devolving into like barbed wire and blood and fucking, but we spend the first 10 minutes having a fucking technical wrestling match in the middle of the ring, so that by the time that the fucking weapons come out, it's like, oh my god, this thing popped off. And so like that's what I was trying to do with this match again. It was this was the culmination of our feud. Right. And I had decided that was going to be, I was retiring that night. Not that night, but that was the night that I was telling Josh that I was out. So I told Josh, I was like, hey, after the match tonight, I need to talk to you. That's all I said to Josh. I didn't say anything after that. And then we went out to the ring, and the match started, and we did not start the way that we had called it in the back. I was, up on the turnbuckle, and I jumped down as soon as the bell rang and turned around. As soon as I turned around, I caught a forearm to the face, and then I dropped, and then I took a knee square to the eyeball. Ooh. And that I was out.
Really?
Dropped me immediately. So then by the end of the match, my whole side of the face was like a black eye. And then I proceeded to wrestle the rest of the match, which I don't remember a lot of.
I was going to say, you probably
I don't remember a lot of the match after that, but I know at one point I fell down the bleachers, but that was a spot that we had called. Travis and I fought up the bleachers because we were in the volunteer gym.
Right.
We fought up the bleachers, and then he punched me, and I rolled all the way down the bleachers, which didn't hurt at all. I've done that several times in my life, just in high school and stuff. Didn't hurt at all. Bleachers don't hurt. But I did that, and everybody's like, you're fucking insane. And I was like, that was a simple thing that I did. But I come to find out that right before Travis went out, Josh told him to work me really stiff. Again, this is just what I've heard. I wasn't on that side of the locker room because heels and faces came out of different sides, so I didn't hear this happen. This is just what other people have told me what was said. Right. Is he was like, well, we called a match in the back, and he was like, well, don't do that, do this instead. And so then that's what happened. I got worked really snug, really snug, and it was not something that I was prepared for, and I got knocked out. I got knocked silly. And then to add on top of it, after it was all over with, like, I was in the locker room in the shower, fucking vomiting everywhere because couldn't.
Concussion.
Yeah, it's fucking throwing up everywhere in the locker room, and like I'm on the ground vomiting, and I was like, Josh, by the way, I'm quitting. Like, which like I was like, I need you to know that it's not because of this. This was my plan anyway. But like man,
this is not helping.
Yeah, like I wanted the cage match because that's what we were building to, is the cage match with Josh. I was like, I want that to be my last match, and because it made a great story. I was originally supposed to win that cage match and be champion forever. Every time I had a long reign, every time I had a title reign, I was supposed to hold it for the longest that anyone had ever held it.
Well, I know on like Robbie's podcast that he did with Josh said like the best business he ever did was when you were the champion.
Yeah, people wanted to see me die. Like there was a genuine visceral hatred for me. Like I had people threw fucking garbage at me.
I remember.
Like I threatened people's kids. I was talking to you about this earlier. There was this kid that was like yelling at me, and I did this like fake lunge at him, and he fell on the floor, and I just pointed and laughed at him in front. And so I just got more booze. One time I went around the ring with the microphone and just pointed in fans' faces and insulted them individually. It's fucking old school Bubba Ray D1 shit when they were in ECW. And like I called some girl was booing me or something like that, and I got right in her face and I was like, you can shut up and you can take your hooker boots back to the fucking house. And it was just like like so much of that was like, oh my god. And I was like, I'll go there, I don't care, you know what I'm saying? Like if somebody hits me, I'll sue them and turn it into a storyline, because fuck it, like I don't like, I was like, what are you gonna do? Because that's what you're that's what you want to do. You want to elicit emotions out of people, and that's what we tried to do at PWF, is tell great stories, because like WWE gets so much shit for so many people for coining the term sports entertainment, but like at a certain point you have to call a fucking duck a duck. You know what I'm saying? Like, yes, it is sports. It is very athletic, and you have to be extremely talented at what you do to be able to do that. You have to be a fucking athlete, and yes, it is a sport, but it's also entertainment. So if you're doing these matches and you're not entertained, then what the fuck is the point? Like with the WWE, it's a fucking television show, and with live shows, with smaller shows, it's a fucking play. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's fucking Shakespeare. You have to have good guys and bad guys. You have to have drama. You have to have these things to continue to draw people in, and that's what we had in spades. Like that's what we as a PWF had, is we elicited these emotions from people, and that's what we kept striving towards. The people that were the good guys, the fans, fucking loved them, loved and cherished them. Yeah. And the bad guys, they wanted to murder. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like so it was. We did that better than some of the other companies in the area.
Well, let's just go there.
Yeah, we did that way better than CW.
Okay, that was the thing, and because if we've talked about the angle a little bit on here, there's been other shows talk about it. The big angle that came from that, because nobody had ever done that, was you kind of had a brand war, but you literally had two separate companies
that didn't like
each other, but they became into a business deal, basically.
And it's hard to say who got the shittier end. Like, because I feel like they made all the money out of it.
Yeah, they did.
But we stole more of the shine,
the glory.
Yeah, we stole more of the shine. I mean, what the company did with it after that was fucking, in the long run, nothing. But
right.
One of the companies is still around, and the other one is not.
Yeah, CWA is actually NWA Smoky Mountain now.
Yeah.
But basically what happened was Robbie Cassidy was fighting Brian Logan. This was how they set everything up. There was actually a meeting basically between Tony and Josh and Robbie and Vince, I think.
Yeah.
And they ironed out all this stuff, how they were going to do this. Robbie gets to win the title from Brian Logan, but he got help from the PWF guys because Robbie Cassidy was leaving CWA to join the PWF. Henceforth, then we get the brand war.
Yeah, and the brand war. We had a Fun Fest show. I think it was a best of 7, and all the matches were PWF versus CWA, and I was in a 6-man match. That was when I was TV champion. It was myself and the Travi. That's what I call them.
Yeah,
Travis
Lee and
Dykes.
Travis
Yeah.
Dykes.
At the time, he was
Big Daddy
Freddy.
Freddy.
Big Daddy Freddy at the time.
That's like I told him. He would dance and stuff.
Yeah,
Like
he would fucking
like
do
a
that fucking
pre-Funkasaurus.
Rikishi shit, and kids loved him, and so way before Funkasaurus.
Yeah,
So we basically based him around Rikishi when we made that jump with him to that character, but he fucking hates that whole time period, and with good.
Oh no! Like
For good reason.
He's got good reason.
Yeah. It gets you over, but at the same time, like but at what cost?
Who can
It's
take
like
it?
it's
Who
super-
ta-
it's
who takes
super
a guy
cringy.
that?
Yeah.
Especially if you see Travis now, it's like fuck.
Yeah. Well, I mean, if you go even further back, he was when I got into the company. He was this. He was gay. He was called
Really?
Fabulous Freddy. Yeah. He was this big,
It seems like
this
I
big,
remember
giant,
that.
effeminate character, but nobody ever explicitly said it until one time because it was called Freddy's Corner or whatever. It was an interview show, and I won the red carpet rollout, and which was our King of the Ring, and he was interviewing me afterwards, and I was supposed to get a trophy, but that fell through. So Josh did not get the trophy done, so I didn't get a trophy. So there was supposed to be a trophy ceremony that Freddie was supposed to be the one to give me the trophy, and we didn't have a trophy, so we were like, shit, what are we going to do? And then I was like, I know what we're going to do. Travis, I want you to give me a coupon for 1 free massage from Big Daddy Freddy, or from Fabulous Freddy. And so then I got the piece of paper and I opened it and I was like, this says that I have access to 1 free massage from Fabulous Freddy. And then I paused and I looked at him, and then I looked at the thing, and then looked at him again, and I was like, "You're gay, aren't you?" And I think that was the first time it had ever been like officially said. But like it because again, I can understand wholly why he is very, very adamant to forget that entire time period,
Right?
Because it was real dumb stuff.
Right.
We were doing real dumb stuff, and Fabulous Freddy didn't stick around much longer after I got there. Not to say that I was the one that made it go away or anything, but I think he was Fabulous Freddy for maybe like 2 more months after I got there,
Right.
and then became Big Daddy Freddy, and started being a badass. Well, a dancing badass, but a badass.
Yeah.
You didn't want to piss him off.
Still don't.
Where was it? Oh yeah, so the Travi. So it was me.
Travi.
It was me and the Travi versus
Is this the Kincaid match?
the Kincaid match.
Is this where he smacked the shit out of you?
Yeah.
Like, I want to hear your side of the story.
Technically, all 3 of them did.
Oh, really?
It was Kincaid, Chris Richards, and I think it was Alex Winters was the 3rd one.
I think so.
Because, again, from what I heard, Chris Richards requested to work with me. Because he always loved... Because Teague and I would run into him in bars in Johnson City.
Right.
You know, he knew who we were. We knew who they were. So, like, we would hang out and drink every once in a while. And, you know, like, we run into each other outside of bars and talk. And it was like that was a weird one where it was like we knew our companies didn't like each other, but we didn't care.
There
we
was
were
no
drinking.
beef.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we were just drinking. Like
You were just drinking.
they understood what we were about. We understood what they were about as far as characters and talent wise, and like just for us specifically. You know, I appreciated his work. He from everything he said appreciated our character work and stuff that we were doing. So he wanted to do, like, he had talked about doing video packages of like him being at a bar, like cutting a promo or whatever, and then we just be at the bar too, and not even like recognize the thing.
Yeah.
Like make a big huge thing out of it, but just we
you
also
being
be there, like in the background, just be like, we're drinking, like, you know, just.
Yeah.
And so he, from what I was told, he specifically requested to work with us. But Teague had gone at that point. Teague had quit. Teague and I had our big feud as a tag team, and we had a blow-off match.
What led to Teague quitting?
Backstage politics.
Backstage politics.
Yeah, is adults acting like children.
Sounds about right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and I don't want to tell that story because it's not my story to tell. But
yeah.
it was backstage politics, which led to him never coming back. He was like, "I'll do our feud," because that's what we had been building towards.
Right.
And we had this great, you know, brother feud. But we were supposed to be tag team champions for like a year and a half. because we were supposed to continue to learn on the job,
Right.
But we were over enough on the microphone that we could hold the belts that long. But stuff happened, and Teague was like, "I'm done," and so then we did our feud, and then we had our blow off match, which was a Dublin street fight, and technically I lost because I quit. Dublin street fight's an I quit match, basically.
Okay.
But I lost, even though he was the one that got the shit beat out of him. Oh, it was real beautiful stuff. Real beautiful stuff. So in storyline, he's my younger brother. We're the Fighting O'Malley's. He's my wee baby brother Casey O'Malley.
Yeah.
So he feuds against me because I've gotten all this recognition. Like I wrestled Menace for the heavyweight title. Da 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 da. So then we eventually break up because he feels like he's being overlooked. So we have our feud. I win the first match. He wins the second match. Then we have our third match. Third match is this. It's the main event too. They put us on last. So we're doing it, and then we pull out. We've beat the living fuck out of each other too. They pull out thumbtacks. Teague pulls out thumbtacks, puts them all over the ground. We're both bleeding because my nose has gotten busted, and he's gigged, so he's open. So we're both bleeding everywhere, and then he gets thrown into the thumbtacks because whoever pulls them out is almost always the one that gets thrown into them. Almost always.
Yeah.
But so he gets thrown into the thumbtacks, and he's like crawling up to me, fucking Terry Funk style, like, "Yeah, you son of a bitch," like crawling up to me. And so then I'm like punching him, and he's telling me to lay it into him, and he'll argue this point now, but he was like, "Man, fucking hit me," and I'm like, "Okay." So I'm fucking knuckle like right to make him bleed more, and I'm like. And I grab his head and I'm like, "Quit! Just quit! Don't make me do this to you, brother. Please don't make me do this. Mom told me to protect you. Please do not make me keep doing this."
Which is great.
And he just keeps spitting blood at me, and I just keep fucking like drilling him, and then he just like flips me off, and then finally I collapse into the floor in a heap and say I quit and just crawl out of the ring because I can't bring myself to hurt my little brother anymore, and I'm crying. I'm full on in character crying because I've been beating the shit out of my little brother, and he's crying and bleeding in a heap, and everybody's just in stunned fucking silence. Like nobody knows how to react to what they just saw.
Because that's fucking great story.
That's how you tell a fucking story. I can't bring myself to beat up my little brother anymore.
Like that's a culmination of just like a great fucking feud.
That's the payoff.
Yeah.
That's what you have a storyline.
And it tells you everything you need to know about those characters.
Yeah.
And because neither one of us is willing to quit, but that love for family and that that weird honor that I have is the one thing that's going to that would always run through the whole theme of things. So yeah, Teague left. I was by myself. So Teague couldn't be in the 6-man match. So we put me and the Trabi in it. So we get there, and I asked Josh before the show if I can cut a promo before the match, because why wouldn't I?
Yeah.
Again, there's a reason. The only reason we ever got over is because I could talk, and T could talk too. But the only reason I ever got over is because I can work a fucking stick like crazy. So I was like, "Can I cut a promo? It's really dumb if I'm here and I don't." And so Josh was like, "Yeah, that's fine." I was like, "Okay." So I went out, grabbed the microphone, cut a promo before the match. Did that normal trash talking shit that you always do. Apparently, that was bad. I wasn't supposed to have done that. They didn't agree that I was supposed to have done that. So I broke some kind of unspoken rule. And all the stuff that I said to them, they took personally. And as soon as the match started, I got slapped in the face by Kincaid. And then thrown into the ropes and caught a forearm right to the nose. Busted my nose immediately. And then they all proceeded to work me. Well, not Chris. I need to say that Chris was very... there's one thing about Chris is Chris could kill you with his bare hands, but he's fucking light as a ghost. Man.
I've heard everybody I've heard
light as a ghost, and he was a fucking dream to work with. And I don't have I don't have bad things to say about it, but it was a lot more snug and a lot more, which wound up working out to my benefit because I played Ricky like a son of a bitch. I got my ass whooped like crazy and drew a bunch of sympathy from the crowd.
Oh yeah,
a lot of the audience was cheering for our team that was not originally cheering for our team in that match. But yeah, so I started the match immediately with a busted nose. I was bleeding all over the place. I ended the match doing a cactus clothesline and hitting a fucking ring apron and breaking a rib.
Damn.
And then we lost, but the audience was over, on our side as fuck.
Yeah.
And that was my experience with, like, I cut a promo and people took it. Wait, again, like, my whole issue with wrestling is grown men acting like children, and in a sport that's fake. And I know you're not supposed to say the F word.
Yeah.
But, like, the only reason anybody's ever popular is because we choose for that person to be popular.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's what. So if there's a sport where you should literally never ever have an ego, it's this one.
Yeah.
Like, yes, you're good. Yes, you can be really good. But if you aren't booked to be good, then who gives a shit? Right. Like, if you're LeBron James, you're fucking really good at basketball, and you can, every single time you go on the court, you can prove that.
Yes.
But in wrestling, if you're not supposed to win,
then you can't prove it.
then you can't prove
then
that.
it doesn't mean,
then you can have great.
shit.
Everybody knows that Dolph Ziggler's really good.
Oh my
But
god!
like, but he's not booked to be.
He's not booked to be.
Yeah. So like, so you have to check your fucking ego at the door, and a lot of people haven't done that because like I was the smallest person in the fucking company, and I was the champion of the company. Like, I never had any illusions about what I was. I was a very good mic man.
Like, I feel like a lot of people probably forget that. Like, that's the thing. Like, they get so into it and so into getting fucking cheered that they just forget that. They're like,
well, these
wow,
people
it
cheer
must
for
be
me.
real.
Yeah. And a lot of my issues that I wound up having in wrestling were that. Especially with all of the fucking PWF, CWA shit, is because everybody was like, I'm being disrespected. And yes, we were being disrespected, and we were disrespecting them. Like, the popular phrase for PWF is that Josh had people drinking the Kool-Aid. And if that's true, then I was sitting there fucking stirring the Kool-Aid. You know what I'm saying? Because like, I told you how I got to where I was in PWF, and it was because I had felt disrespected by these other people. And it was like, well, then fuck them. If they didn't want to work with me, I'm going to try to put them out of business. And that was because I want to be the best.
Oh, yeah.
I want to be the best at everything.
And that's what it was at that time. Because, like, yeah, there was the whole, we'll work together thing. But at the same time, it was still, everybody knew they fucking hate each other.
Yeah.
Like, there was no, like, oh, well, I bet these guys really get along in the back. No.
Yeah.
And
it said, no one, like, some people did, but for the most part, it was just, and then every single time that we tried to work together after that, we watched that video when I was the heel champion at the time.
You're right.
We did another, that was like the big three-way, Southern States, CWA, and PWF did a whole giant angle together for some dumbass reason. But when that happened, some fucking dildo that worked for CWA came out and kicked the shit out of Josh. Like,
okay, is this the War Games match?
No.
Okay, I was gonna say we're getting to the War Games in a minute. Cause
I had nothing to do with War Games.
Oh no,
I was wrapped up in my own feud with Travis.
I just wanted to see what was the feeling after that.
The feeling was fuck them.
Right.
Like that. I personally said that we shouldn't do War Games.
Right. Well, okay. Let me set this up. Obviously, you're going to have the brand war. Eventually, we're leading to a big payoff. War Games. They had the best of 7 series.
We won the best of 7 series.
Which I heard that was the night like Tony got pissed, didn't he?
Yeah.
That was because you all came out to celebrate. We all came out
and celebrated. Which, why the fuck wouldn't we?
Right.
That's bad storytelling if we, the young upstarts, defeated the big
backyarders.
Fucking... the backyarders. The yarders. If David fucking toppled Goliath, why the fuck would we not celebrate that?
Right.
So we did. We came out and fucking celebrated because, goddamn it, yes, we won. And then he was like, man, how fucking dare you all celebrate and throw that shit in our face? And we were like, fuck you. And there was a big giant meeting in the locker room, and everybody was sitting there yelling at each other. And I went, this is stupid, and just left. Like, I just left the locker room. This huge argument's happening in the locker room about how we shit all over this gift that they gave us.
Right.
That's the way that they viewed the whole. That was the sentence that was said that made me go, I'm out, and just walked out. Is because they were like, you shit all over this gift that we gave you.
Wow.
That's the way that they viewed it. And I don't know, people probably won't say that now. And again, I have no fucking stake in this whatsoever.
Right.
But like, that's how they viewed it then. They never ever viewed us as equals. And they still don't. You know?
No.
But half the people in
and what
NWA Smoky Mountain now are PWF
and
guys.
see, they'll still say, you all were the yarders and all that stuff, but you all did change this whole area into what it is now.
Well, it's like
because before there was no there wasn't an alternative. There was And granted, I'll give Tony this. Tony became an alternative because fucking Bo James.
Yeah, was awful. So everybody
awful.
spins off of somebody, but I don't know. Like, so that was the point where I just left the locker room, and I went up sitting out by the ring with a couple of people who I can't remember his fucking name. He's gone now, but he was a JBL ripoff. Cole
Was that Cole Layton King?
Yeah,
Cole Layton
King. Him and I were just sitting out there, and again, he was a CWA guy, and we were just sitting there being like, "This is fucking dumb." You know, like, because there were certain people in the company that just realized that shit was real dumb. But then at the same time, like, when that happened, I was like, man, fuck them. Like, fuck them to death. Let's put them out of business. And I was like, we've got the talent and we've got the ability to do that. And he was like, yeah, but we got to do this War Games thing.
Okay, which this is what I was going to get to. We get the War Games. And by going hearing, the stories from the other side or whatever, and like even Josh is telling part of the story, is part of the PWF team like backed out or didn't want to do it, or they wanted like the older, tougher guys to be in because they thought it was really going to become a real fight.
Yeah,
which really just came down to one stupid ass.
But I feel like if certain people hadn't been in the ring for PWF, it would have been. You know what I'm saying? Like, I feel like if I'd have been in the ring,
they would.
I'd have gotten mauled. But like nobody's gonna fucking maul. Fucking, I think Hans was in there.
I think let's see.
Hans. I think one of the fucking like the Death Riders might have been in there. I think Mike Blade might have been. Nobody's gonna
Mike
fucking
Blade was.
like, you know what I'm saying? So it's like if I'd have been in the ring, they'd have immediately tried to like knock my fucking dick off. You know, like So like I believe that it as bad as it went, it probably would have gone worse if different people had been in the ring. And my whole stance on it was, fuck them, don't do it.
Right. Well, what happened was, and it's a guy who I don't think I've told the story on the podcast. I had a run-in with a guy, and I actually quit watching wrestling or going to the wrestling shows, other than the occasional PWF show, like for you all. I quit going to wrestling for like a couple years because I was ready. Literally, the one night I was ready to go to jail, and it was, like, to me, I was like, the point that I'm ready to go to jail over a fucking wrestling match, I need to step away.
Yeah.
But it was Brian Logan. I still, to this day, I'll tell you, I think he's an asshole, and I don't give a shit. Fuck that guy.
I never had a pleasant experience with him. I didn't have a lot of experiences with him.
Here was my experience. Like the week before the big thing that happened, it was at a show at the Armory, the old Armory, and it was supposed to be Robbie Cassidy versus Brian in the main event. Something happened. Robbie couldn't make it. So, and funny story now, they brought in this guy who I'd never heard of before to face Brian Logan in the main event from like Knoxville, and it was Sigmund, long-haired Sigmund.
Damn.
Yeah.
Sigmund had been
really
around.
Good.
I'd heard about Sigmund for a long time.
Really?
Because he fucking ran Knoxville. Like, that was like his fucking place.
Well, see, I've heard that
where
now.
he was the fucking king of Knoxville, basically.
Right. But, so, it was when Brian Logan was with John Hawkins, and they had the big-ass, like, what was his name? Bolo.
Yeah.
Bolo was in his corner. And Bolo was like, okay, I'm fat, so I can say that. He's a big fat guy. Who had, like, the kickboxer Tom Poe hairdo thing. He did, all right? And they built him up like he's a badass, and from what he wasn't trained at all either.
Yeah, he just looks big.
He just looked like a badass. But we're cheering, me and another guy I work with, and who's a big guy too. We're cheering for Brian Logan because most of the time I go wrestling, I'll cheer for the bad guys just because, I want to be the other side of the fans.
It's fun, yeah.
He smarts off. And he's like, if I wanted you to cheer for me, I'd have bought you a salad. Well, okay, here's the thing.
Hey, that wouldn't make anybody cheer for anybody. No,
No.
I've never been like, yay, a salad! That's a bad thing.
That's a stupid-ass thing to say. Second, which, I wasn't as bad in high school, but as I got older, it was kind of like, because, in high school, I was still big then.
Yeah.
So I learned to, I can talk shit back with people really good. So I'm like, you need to buy that fat boot over in the corner of the salad, what you better do. Well, I don't, that set him off. So the whole time, he'd have Sigmund in a headlock. Me and him are sitting there the whole match the rest of the time, just cussing each other, going back and forth. And I know I'm being that stupid-ass fan at this point. But I'm like, really? Don't be a fucking idiot. So, and this was
there's
the
a
guy,
way to get heat, and then there's a bad way.
Yeah, and you're just being an ass. And Brian Logan was the guy that would make little kids cry, get in their face and spit at people and all this stupid shit. Well, we go the next week, and that was Casey Oxendine fought Cody Isis in a cage match. Yeah. But,
Shit.
I remember pissing him off during they cut a promo where it was like Tony and Robbie, like G1, and you had JHP.
Fucking G1.
G1,
God damn, I forgot all about G1.
And I was actually giving Tony shit too. Like, I've never told this. Like, Tony's outside, and you know how Tony, especially back then, how his voice was. I was like telling Tony, I was like, use your big boy voice, Tony. Go ahead. But Brian Logan's sitting in the ring with a cowboy hat on, and it was like the same time Brokeback Mountain came out.
Yeah.
So I'm calling him Brokeback the whole time. And so anyway, he has his match at the end, and somehow he wins by cheating, whatever. And he got in this little kid's face, and that kid was literally crying, like scared. And like, I understand getting over and giving kids shit, but there's a point.
Yeah.
Where you cross the line.
You need to
Well,
fucking
the
lay
mom
off
tried
at
to
some
say
point.
something, you know, because this kid is literally crying, laying down in the seat. Well, he gets in that woman's face and basically has her laying down in the seat. I yell. Same thing. Did you get that salad yet? I said, did you feed it that fat booty yet? Well, so he starts walking away. He gets in another kid's face. And this has just happened to be the one time. I mean, he's been once or twice since then, but that was way after Brian Logan's gone. My dad was with me. And my brother and my son, who was like 4 maybe at the time, Dad stands up and yells. And I'm loud. Dad has that dad voice.
Yeah.
He's just got that
And he's
thunder
like,
ass voice.
ain't nobody backing down over here, big boy.
Yeah.
And apparently that is wrestling speak for let's go.
Yeah.
And we're sitting in the second row, and you know, the chair's attached at the Civic Auditorium. Brian Logan comes over there and gets in our face and then points at like my son and like, if I want to hit a kid or do anything to a kid, I'll do it. If I want to do it to that kid, I'll do it. Well, that proceeded. Chairs went flying. People started grabbing. People were coming from the other side going, let's kill that motherfucker. All this other shit. I'm like, holy shit, we're going to jail. But I had every intention. That was the one night I was like, fuck it, I'll go to jail. I'm going to beat this guy's ass. I was sick of. And the whole time, like now it's funny. Like Tony and Robbie and Bo James, who are the good guys, the faces, are in the ring, still laying there like they've been beat up. I'm sitting there going, what the fuck? Anyway, I don't know what happened. All I know is all of a sudden he disappeared. Poor little Scott Hall. This is my one time I remember Scott Hall before, like now when we see him, the little security guard. Scott, I love you, so if he listens, Scott was scared shitless. Because you have Bolo.
Yeah, what are you going to do?
Yeah, you have Bolo, Brian Logan, and John Hawkins, and then you have, like, my buddy Al, who's bigger than me and Dad, and then me, my dad, my brother, and, like, 20 other people, and Scott Hall's just calm down, I'm like, no, fuck this, we're way past calm down. So, anyway, he disappears, and I'll say this, my dad, who doesn't really cuss or say anything hardly, he's like, let's get the hell out of here. And I swear to God, it was like Moses parting the Red Seas. We had a straight got a standing ovation from everybody in there. And I didn't go back to the wrestling show for like a couple years because of Brian Logan. Well, Brian Logan in War Games waited for the perfect time to do it too. And even like, because Robbie says, Brian thought he was going to get jumped, supposedly. Well, Brian sat in the corner with Robbie and just they went back and forth right until he saw Josh laying on the ground.
And immediately goes over and kicks him square in the fucking face.
Yes. I mean,
I watched.
You can see the video
like
of
straight
it.
up kicks him in the face.
He wears him the fuck out.
What the fuck?
It's flat out boot straight to face.
like straight cheap shot,
Yeah.
like a
Oh,
fuck
yeah.
you shot.
And if you, it's actually like if you can find video of it, it's actually like it's a fucking mauling.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's bad. And then like the match is actually supposed to go longer, but like Tony gets in the ring and winds up looking like a badass because like he gets over to Josh and Josh is like, "Get me the fuck out of here."
Do whatever you gotta do.
Yeah, and like the match is over. Like literally 2 minutes later, like it was supposed to go longer.
And
Tony
they-
looks
yeah.
like a badass because he come in. You know, when you
triangle choke or whatever.
when you
shit.
come in War Games, you get the big push right there. You get to go over on everybody. Well, he went over on everybody, got to Josh, and Josh just goes, "Get me the fuck out of here," and taps, and it's over.
Really?
Well, that night ended that little working relationship. Well, what happened was everybody knew what happened. Like it wasn't like it was a secret. It got out and all the fans knew. Well, then a lot of people left CWA, like fan wise, and PWF. By this time, everybody was jumping on that board a lot because I mean it was the alternative. It was different.
Well, I mean, it's like what we said before we started. I mean, you showed me some PWF videos, and obviously, like hearing some of the stories and the characters Hunter was talking about, like, you know, if I'm a fan, if PWF and CWA are around right now, and it was the same way it was then, I'm a PWF guy 100% because they told fucking stories. Like, it didn't matter if you were the best guy in the ring. Like, it's entertaining.
Yeah,
That's the thing.
The wrestlers were NCWA. Hunter and them, I mean, they weren't, not that they weren't wrestlers.
Like, but my thing is this: they were great wrestlers. For the most part, not a lot of them could talk.
Yeah, that's true.
We cultivated a world where a lot of us could talk, and not a lot of us could wrestle, but we were better wrestlers or better at
entertaining.
Yeah, and what we couldn't do in the ring, we made up for way more with talking than what they could do with talking to make up. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. That's what I'm trying to.
There was the more
like it's a lot easier to build a story up and then have like even a decent match than have no story whatsoever and put on a phenomenal match.
Look, Vince McMahon. Vince McMahon is the number one representation of that. Vince McMahon is. And you'll hear this from literally everybody that's ever been in the ring with him. He is the worst goddamn wrestler for someone who has been around wrestling his entire life. He can't do shit. But that son of a bitch has a 5-star match of the year with Shawn Michaels at WrestleMania because he built up the story so goddamn well that when he got in the ring and got his ass whooped, everybody shit their pants.
Yeah,
that fucking cage match that he had with Stone Cold Steve Austin at St. Valentine's Day Massacre.
This is the Paul White showing up.
Yeah. When the giant
show
busts through the fucking bottom of the ring. Vince does that fucking dumb, stupid spot where he falls off, his fucking 50, 60-year-old ass falls off the top of the cage, breaks his fucking coccyx, and Stone Cold is like, are you fucking out of your mind? Like, people have already bought the pay-per-view. People have already bought the tickets just to see you get beat up. I can just get in the ring and punch you a lot and people will be so happy. Why are you falling off a fucking cage, you psychopath? But, like, that's what we didn't have to be good. Because we already had people invested.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like that, when I was a champion, I changed every time I went through a different iteration in my career. When I was a tag team wrestler, I had a specific style. When I was the TV champion, I had a specific style. Then when I was the heavyweight champion as a heel, I had a very different style. But I didn't have to do as much. Because, like, which you should, the heel technically has to be the better worker because he's the one that's in charge of the match the entire time. But, like, I didn't have to do a lot because I'd already sold everything.
You had people hooked in already.
So I could just, like, put in a fucking rest hold and people were already like, oh, God damn it, get out of the rest hold and murder him. Please just murder him. and so, like, that was where I was. Like, I didn't have to be a great worker. I would put on some great matches. I don't say great. Well, for what we were doing, great. But, like, I would already have people hooked. And then I could go in and have a subpar match, like a mediocre match. But because of the emotion behind it, it was a great match.
Right.
Yeah.
Like, Josh and I's last match is not good. We had a cage match.
Right.
And it was not very good. Like, it just wasn't. I can't remember anything about it being particularly great. Also, again, I got a concussion in that match, so I don't fully remember a lot of it. I did a Russian leg sweep off the top rope. And I tucked my chin and everything, but I was going so that my head snapped back, and I was staring at the ceiling. If he had done it to me, and, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, if he'd have been the one that did it and then went for a cover, I don't know if I'd have kicked out. But because I was the one, it was my offensive maneuver.
Right.
There was no pinfall. So, like, that's how, I don't know how long I was out for on the ground.
Wow.
But like, it was a decent match. He hit me with the spine buster, and then I kicked out, and the audience lost their shit. And I'd done such a good job that night, because it was called Night of the Cage, because all the matches take place in the cage. But I came out at the beginning of the night, and awarded myself a new title belt, because we'd gotten a new title belt that night. So I started the show by awarding myself a title, and, like, I made Dylan, who at the time was a face, I made him list off all of my accomplishments before awarding me this new belt. This was after I'd had a match with Dylan at Christmas Wishes, where I beat the shit out of him the entire time just by smacking him.
Right.
Like, I just kept smacking him with the back of my hand. That was a whole thing when I was on commentary as a good guy. But, so I made him do that. and like talk about how fucking great I was. And then I was like, well, you know what? Tonight is Night of the Cage, but I'm going to rename it the Night of O'Malley. And just talk about how fucking great I was. So that happened. Awesome. And then Travis had a match. And, of course, Travis and I had our giant, huge feud. And we just had that one match at Volunteer a week before. So he has a match and he loses his match. And so then I come in and get in the ring and fire him. Because I'm the matchmaker.
Right.
I'm the fucking commissioner. Like, I'm King Shit of Turd Mountain. And I'm like, you're fired. Get out of my fucking ring. And then
because while he was champion, he was the commissioner.
Yeah,
so
I did a huge power grab thing, and it was a storyline that took about a year to culminate. It took an entire year, because the year before at Night of the Cage was when I won War Games as a good guy and became the matchmaker and the commissioner. So yeah, I fired Travis. That got me more heat, and then later on, Travis Lee. Was TV champion at the time. He had a huge match against like 4 people. Beat them. He was champion. Then I was like, oh, but wait, now you have another match. And then he was like, what are you talking about? And about that time, Crunch from the Death Riders came out, started to beat the living fuck out of him with a chair. And then I was like, oh, here's your new opponent. And Daniel came out, Daniel Mulligan. And he was we were a group at the time called the IRA. He came out, and we picked Travis up and threw his ass in the ring. And then Daniel did a fucking headbutt off the top rope and pinned him. And all the while this is happening, I'm on the microphone doing commentary around the ring talking about it. And I was like, ladies and gentlemen, your new television champion, Daniel fucking Mulligan. And so then that happened. So that was now my third thing that I'd come out and been an asshole about. So then finally I come out and I have my cage match at the end. And Josh and I are working each other. And again, I don't think it's a very good match. But we're up on top of the cage. And I'm fucking banging his head on the top of the cage. And banging his head on the top of the cage. And finally he falls off. And I climb over the top of the cage. And I'm about to escape. About that time, the entire locker room clears. All the people that I have fucked over my entire time as a bad guy commissioner. They come out. And before I can touch the ground, they catch me. So my feet never touch the ground. And then they carry me, crowd surf me back over. Open the door and throw my ass back in the ring. And I'm like, this is bullshit. And then I turn around and spin right into a spine buster and then get pinned. 1, 2, 3. And that's when Josh won the title. And that's my favorite moment of wrestling. Because you can watch that video. You can watch the video and there's people in the background that are strangers. And they're running up to each other, hugging each other.
Yeah.
Like they're so happy that this has happened. That fucking the evil hunter has been fucking vanquished finally. And they're so goddamn happy. And then the rest of the locker room all proceed to beat the shit out of me. I take a bicycle kick from Travis Lee. I take a fucking pay dirt or whatever the shit Vince calls it. Goddamn mic check or what that shit Shelton Benjamin did.
Yeah.
I swear to God he just called it pay dirt because he's never been really creative with titles. He did a senton and just called it a swanton because he wanted to be Jeff Hardy. Just called it a swanton. Didn't even call it anything different. So I'm pretty sure it was that, and he just called it pay dirt, and which is what Shelton Benjamin called it. So then Travis Dykes came in, and then DDT'd me, and then Josh picked me up and spine busted me again. All the while I've got the worst. My head's fucking killing me,
right?
And I can't it was awful. And so then finally, that was the last thing I ever did, and I popped out. But again, that story of everybody I've screwed over. And I spent all night building to that point so that when I go over the top of that cage and then everybody starts to come out, you can hear the crowd just be like, oh, thank God, yay. Yay, fucking something came back to bite him in the ass. And they all catch me and throw me back in, and it's fucking just elation from that point on. And, I'm very happy about where I went out in wrestling. And I was like, nah, I'm done. I'm real done. I'm super duper done. I had decided to go back to school at that point. I'm gonna grab another beer. That's what I'm gonna do. So you all talk amongst yourselves while I grab another beer.
Yeah, because I got 2 questions. Then we gotta ask some other shit. I want to hear hunters talk about other stuff.
Yeah, I'm it's weird. I feel like I haven't talked this much on this, but I've just fucking been enjoying this, just sitting here.
Because we talked about it. Because you told me when I was like, yeah, Hunter is coming. He was like, So you got to explain all this stuff to me, like the angle and PWF.
Yeah, because I wanted to hear some of this beforehand to get some perspective about all of it.
Okay. First question, which it may be part of that answer. What was your favorite match you had in PWS?
My second match with Teague and I. It was a Falls Count Anywhere match. Our second match in that feud. It's probably my favorite match that I ever had. It was, man, we went all over that damn place. All over the Armory. We were wrestling all over that place. And I also had a really good one at the Park show against Travis Dykes. It was another Falls Count Anywhere match. That's the one. Both of those. I started doing a suicide dive by accident one time. And so then it just became I was having.
Wait a minute.
How do you do one of those by accident?
Go ahead. I want to hear
I was having a match. I think it was a red carpet rollout, and I was wrestling Travis in the first round. The one that I won, the red carpet rollout. I was wrestling Travis in the first round, and Travis had fallen out of the ring, and Travis and I weren't really calling anything at the time. So he was just standing there, and I was like, I guess I'm just going to do a suicide dive. Because it's Travis, and Travis and I trust each other explicitly, which is what made things that happened later shitty. But so I was just like, nah, we'll be okay, So I ran and did the suicide dive and nailed it, and it was like, fuck, I can do a suicide dive now. It was like a weird, oh cool, I know I can do that now.
I'll be damned.
I started doing the suicide dive after that, and but then I started doing this. You remember this from football. Every year on Media Day,
oh my God.
Eric Benton and I would do that picture.
The picture
of
you jump over the top.
Jump over him. It started out with him sitting Indian style on the ground, and me just diving over him in freshman year, and then sophomore year he was in a knee, and then he just kept getting gradually taller and taller, and me still flying over top of him. So I was like, I use the words deceptively spry. I am deceptively spry for what I look like.
Is. I'll give him that.
I can do a moonsault. I can do a suicide dive. I can do all these fucking weird random things that you would not expect out of somebody with this body shape. But not as crazy as when Daniel does that same shit, because Daniel Mulligan can do that same shit. It's fucking remarkable. But I at the time was, so I started doing this, and Teague and I were having this match, and we wound up over in the concession stand area, and he was a bad guy, and I went to throw him into the concessions, and he did a baseball slide underneath the table. And he didn't hit the table. He just slid underneath the table and popped up and was like, "Yeah, haha, what's up now?" And right about that time, he turned around and I had dove over the concession stand, like Simba jumping through the fire at the end of Lion King to kill Scar. Full on fucking huge dive over the concession stand table and just fucking tackled the shit out of him, and then picked up the fucking can, the tray, the jug thing that had all the drinks in it, and then dunked his head in it, and that got a huge oh yeah. But Teague was just like, oh thank God, that was so hot and I was burning up, and that felt amazing. But that's probably my favorite, and Teague and I were all over the place in that match, and it's Teague, so it's the person that I started working with. Right. And that I couldn't really enjoy the last match that we had. Right. It was a whole different. I was in a whole different mindset. Yeah. For that last match, but that one was the one where we got to go out and have fun. Right. And just show off. That was that one where it was Teague and I were really good, at putting on matches, and so we're gonna go ahead and show everybody that we're good at putting on matches. It's like when fucking Shawn wrestled Diesel at WrestleMania 11, and the main event was Bam Bam Bigelow versus Lawrence Taylor, and they're like, no, fuck that, we're gonna go out there and we're gonna have the best goddamn match that you've ever seen. That's why Teague and I, every single time before we would go out for a match, the last thing we would say to each other before we went out to the curtain, we would fucking fucking bring it in, and then we would say, let's go steal the show, because that was our number one. If you're not, that's the Shawn Michaels thing, if you're not there to have the best match on the card, then why the fuck are you there? Right. Exactly. People that skate those shit fucking annoy me. So go out there and fucking put on a fucking great show. So that was the one where Teague and I got to go out and show people, that we were good. And then that Falls Count Anywhere match I had with Travis at the Park show in Rogersville, I did that same spot, the dive over the car, but this time Travis went to throw me into it was my car. There's just a random BMW parked. It was an older BMW. Don't look at me like I'm rich. Or
I know.
Yeah,
No, I know.
it was parked there.
You're talking to the guy. You were a year ahead of me, and I was giving you a ride home.
Yeah, so it was there, and so he goes to throw me into the BMW, and I fucking action movie slide across the hood.
No.
And then he's like, "What the fuck?" And then turned around, and I dove over the hood, back over the hood with that dive again, and hit him. And then I climbed up on top of the BMW and jumped off the roof over the hood and hit an elbow drop. That picture's online.
That's awesome.
That one, yeah. Those two are probably my favorite, just because I got to like have fun and just fuck around with a buddy of mine, you know?
Right.
Yeah.
And like, because again, we always felt, not just even, you know, like not just like on the larger scale, felt like we were underappreciated by the other companies, but like even in PWF, you know, everybody was like, Johnny, and I was like, fuck that, we're good too, you know. So we wanted to go out and prove that we were good, and you know, I've always thought that Travis is an amazing worker, and so we always wanted to go out and be like, man, fuck it, dude, like let's show people that we're really good, and so those were the matches where we got to go out and like prove to people that we're really good,
right?
And that's, you know, that's something I always. And so those are probably my favorite. My favorite matches. I wouldn't say they're my best matches, but they're my favorite matches.
The other question I have, which it's one of those I know the answer. I think. Well, I know some of the answers because I know at PWF, you know, every so often they would bring in like a big name person. Because I know there was like Lex Luger, there was Jake the Snake Roberts.
Yeah.
Any interesting interactions with any of those people?
The Jake weekend, because it was a weekend.
Yeah, because there was two shows.
Yeah, we did a double header.
Rogersville was like Friday night,
and then Saturday night
was Kingsport.
That's pretty badass.
It was May 8th and May 9th, and I know this because my birthday is May 8th. So we went to the Rogersville show, and this was Teague and I right before either our second or third match. And the one thing that Teague always wanted to do in our feud was he loved the Jericho suit promos. You know how when Jericho was the heel and he was doing that Nick Bockwinkel shit, and he would come out in the suit and talk really slow and be like, I am the best in the world at what I do, and like that whole shit. And so Teague always wanted a suit promo, and it was my birthday, so I was like, fuck it, I've been drinking, so we're not gonna have a match, and plus, like, why would we, like, we're trying to build to a bigger story, so there's no need for either of us to have a match here. So we're just gonna do a promo. Teague's gonna come out, cut a promo, talk about how like he's great, and I was like, that's awesome, but you need to use big words in your promo, like huge words, like you know, Jericho would use those these sycophants and like these, like, you know, and these fucking SAT words, and I was like, I want you to go out there and I want you to call the audience vulgar, weak, and licentious. Which again is it's a Disney reference because it's a song from The Hunchback of Notre Dame, but I was like, I want you to go out and do that. So Teague is out there.
Plucked that out of nowhere.
Teague is out there cutting this promo, and while that's happening, a fucking tornado hits.
Yes.
What?
Knocks the power out in the entire fucking arena. This tornado touches down, I swear to God, 2 football fields away from the armory. So nobody's paying attention. You know why? Because while this promo is happening, fucking Johnny Knievel runs out of the locker room and goes, oh shit, come and look at this tornado. And everybody gets up out of their chairs and runs over to the door and looks at the tornado. And I was like, y'all are all stupid, first of all, because that's not what you do.
Yeah.
When there is a tornado 200 yards away.
Tornado, man.
I'm tornado. Johnny told us to. So they all go sprinting over this fucking tornado, looking at it. And so nobody's paying attention to Teague at this point. And so then my music hits, the microphone's messed up, I come out and beat the shit out of Teague, and the microphone's not working, so I'm just yelling at Teague, like cutting this great promo, but nobody can hear it because no microphone, and like I'm not just gonna, like, it says I couldn't bring myself as a performer to have that fucking emotion, like that anger, that fucking built up anger where I've, you know, my fucking brother turned on me, and like I'm not gonna fucking do this, I'm not going to sit there and sit in the ring and wait and like fiddle with a microphone and be like, well, we'll get this. I'll tell you what I'm going to say. Well, we'll get this here. And so I was like, man, fuck this. I'm going to tell you how I feel regardless of whether or not I have a microphone, because I just couldn't, character-wise, I couldn't. Like, why would you do that? Why would you ever do that? Why would you sit in the ring and just, I've got something to say. I've got something to say to you. I will. Is it working? Is it working now? Is the microphone? Do we need to turn it off or turn it back on? Because I've got something to say to you. So I was like, I'm just going to fucking scream at you. So I did my thing where I was just screaming at him, and it was not good. So then we just left after that, and I didn't watch any of the matches that night. And then the next day we went to the Kingsport show, and we were doing a fucking training session with Jake the Snake Roberts, and I'm real good at bumping. Like, I look like I've been killed when I take a bump. And he told me that he was like, no, that's not a very good bump. And so then like somebody else was doing like this fucking like lay down thing. He was like, we need to do with this. I was like, but I don't, wait, what? And like, I got mad. And he was like, shut the hell up, kid. and so I saw Castle. He came to the show. He was like, what's up? I was like, Jake the Snake's already told me to shut the hell up, so it's going to be a great night.
Literally, he's sitting outside on the front steps of the Army, and I'm walking in, I'm like, oh, fuck, there's Hunter. Because Jaden had his like tonsils took out. Because Jaden was excited because he wanted to see Jake the Snake. Well, Jaden didn't get to go.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, oh, this is cool. I'll give him a picture of Hunter, whatever. And I'm thinking, I get to see Hunter and Teague, too. So I walk, swear to God, hey, Hunter, how you doing? Well, Jake the Snake Roberts has already told me to shut the hell up. I'm like,
so it's gonna be a good night.
I'm sitting there going, what the fuck?
And that whole night was a shit. We got Teague and I got crammed into.
That
this
was
one
like
of the weird nights.
six-man
ladder match.
Yeah.
For the TV title, which Teague and I had nothing to do with. But he wanted to put us on the card because we were building to a story, so we got crammed into this thing. It was the worst. It was bad. It was bad. Freddie got busted open.
I was gonna say, because there was like a spot, because I was sitting
Teague
in the front row, and Teague was like
ladder.
right in front of me, and I was like, dude, are you all right? And he's like,
no, Teague was knocked unconscious. That was Teague's second to last match, actually. So yeah, it was a shit show from like word go. And it was not a very good night. I think Jake wound up winning the tag team titles.
Which made absolutely no sense.
Without ever he didn't take a bump. He just came in the ring and DDT'd somebody, and he was the tag team champion.
Do you remember what he wrestled in?
Yeah, just sweatpants.
Yeah. Like, he'd sit up there the whole time trying to sell autographs.
Doing his fucking
gimmicks. And I'm talking
gimmicks.
like expensive ass autographs, too.
Oh, yeah, he's doing his gimmicks. So, I mean, it's what you do. And plus, at the time, like, Jake was, going through some shit.
Oh,
he's sorted out since then, but, like...
Yeah. But, yeah, he like, the actual clothes he was over there signing autographs in, which was like a collared shirt. Like a pullover.
A polo shirt and just sweatpants. And then, like, when it's time for him to wrestle,
he goes back... And you're like, okay, he's gonna put on.
He's probably got his shit on under.
He's probably got something on. Yeah. Anyway, all of a sudden he comes out and it's just like, really? I mean, he looks like he just crawled out of bed. And yeah, it was like he never did anything until like
Mike tagged him.
Yeah, Mike tagged him, and it was like a DDT, and it was it.
Yeah,
that's shitty, man.
And then he was because he didn't work there. So then we had to do a thing where like he's not a tag team champion anymore. So Mike needs to find a tag team partner. And like, so yeah, it was why even do the it was a weird, it was a grab at attention, and like that's what you do when you bring in a name.
Oh yeah,
wholeheartedly what you do, but like, I don't know, it was poorly executed.
But usually when you bring in a name, you don't put the title on.
I mean, it's like what we talked about with Matt Hardy, with the
the Pro Wrestling South shows.
Yeah, I mean, like, okay, Darkstorm's.
Oh god damn it! Have you all seen that fucking promo?
Him and Jeff Hardy.
Oh my son,
Brother Nero.
Let it end where it began. Man. That is the best fucking worst shit I've ever seen.
Yes.
And the fucking table that they decided to like their mom's like dinner table or some shit. What is that table? The fucking round table that they hit and just kind of like.
Well, did you see where like a bunch of TNA guys, EC3 and all, like TNA did a spoof video making fun of.
That's what TNA is a joke, like to themselves. Yeah, and like it's not even like they're trying to just be like, look, we suck, we know it.
Well, the bad part is like the actual wrestling is not.
That's always been the case. That's always been the case with TNA. Like the workers have been, that's where fucking Kurt Angle is. That's where AJ Styles, Samoa Joe. Like that's the workers have always been good, and that's what you would watch. That's what you would watch the show for.
Yeah.
But it's gotten so bad.
Dixie's terrible.
Yeah,
like Dixie, and I'm not one of those that's like I'll shit on TNA because I used to be like a TNA guy more than I was WWE.
Yeah, I was too, just because of how good technically the wrestling was.
Sting was
literally
too,
since I was a child, I have always been WWE.
You were WWE.
Above
See, I was
E,
NWA, WCW.
Yeah. Well, see, I couldn't. I even then, I just knew that I could just recognize glaring problems with the product.
Yeah.
That you learned about years later.
Right.
But you could just see, it just felt like the inmates were running the asylum.
Yeah.
So you were always just like, that doesn't make sense. Literally none of this makes sense. And there's a lot of times in WWE where that happens, but it was like on a consistent week-to-week basis with WCW where nothing made sense.
Yes. Oh, I know. Because I was a WCW guy, and I would be sitting there going and watching. I'm like, what in the hell is going on? Because I was a Sting guy. Because Sting, and Sting still is now. Like, I'm sitting there watching the Hall of Fame speech, and I look like a baby.
That match he had with Seth Rollins, son of a bitch, that match was good. Man, that match was good. Didn't end well.
But it was a great match.
Man, that Triple H match was good for what it was because they had an old school wrestling. They had a WCW match.
They had a WCW. I know.
They overbooked the shit out of it.
I know.
Inexplicably, the heel.
Why the fuck? Okay, my thing was with that because I was pissed because I'm like,
it's almost kind of genius. You know what I'm saying?
It almost is.
Like it's literally every single time he feuded with the fucking NWO. Like. Why did he lose? What happened? Why did he just lose? Why did he just lose? This doesn't make sense. Because Hogan, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
It's almost genius that Triple H won. And I want to know, did they mean that to happen? Because it's fucking insanely genius. It's an overbooked debacle that happens, and they're just wheeling out old people.
Yeah,
whenever out there,
all DX comes out, I'm like, what the hell?
DX music's hitting. I was like, someone's good, Super King. Yay, Shawn Michaels.
But wait a minute, what made it even better was I went old school for a minute. I went, why the fuck is the NWO coming out to help Sting?
Yeah.
It makes no sense whatsoever.
None. Not even a little bit.
Not even a little bit.
Just because they all hated. Well, I mean, he was in the Wolfpack.
He was in the Wolfpack, but that was just with Nash.
Yeah.
Hogan and him, that was the
driving force
downfall.
for a year.
That was WCW's downfall. Was the booking of Starrcade 1997. Because I was in it, man. I'd bought in.
Yep.
Even if it happened today at 31 years, I would have been hooked. I would have paid whatever. They could have charged $200 for that pay-per-view. I'd have been in on it. And then you have the whole Nick Patrick counts to 3. Bret Hart comes out because we got to go back to what happened in WWF. It was shit. Anyway,
it's poorly done stuff, but I can appreciate Sting. I can appreciate some of that fucking cruiserweight shit that was happening in WCW.
When they brought the cruiserweight stuff,
that was revolutionary.
That was
that changed drastically.
They started it, with Liger and Pillman back in '92 because they had the first
Alex Wright.
Yeah, Alex Wright was there
doing some great shit back then. That was all great. But the fucking main event was was the line from Dodgeball. You look like a bunch of retards trying to hump a doorknob.
Yeah.
That's what WCW felt like.
Well, it turned into...
It always felt like that.
Yeah.
You know
it got to where when they started doing the guaranteed contracts and they get creative control. And Hogan could call any shot he wanted.
Yeah.
Hogan got to say, no, I'm not doing this. Or no, I'm not losing to this guy. And
whereas in the WWE... the final say
is
Vince
one
McMahon.
person will always have the final say, no matter
Vince
who it
McMahon.
is.
So that it always felt more organized at the top. I will say, in the mid card and the lower card, nobody was it's where God doesn't pay attention. Is that part of the card?
Yeah.
But back then, the lower card and the mid card was kind of
my favorite thing. That's where God doesn't pay attention.
Yeah, it's a place where God does not pay attention.
God doesn't pay attention here.
But the main event always kind of made sense, whereas in WCW it did not.
No.
Whereas the mid card kind of made sense. The main event, no.
You just had a flip flop, basically.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what it came down to.
But it's the title is the one that you want to see. That's the reason why you're theirs. That's the big story in the company. Yes, other stories can become the big story in the company, but the driving force still needs to be that title.
The title still has that one.
Yeah,
it's
level of importance.
Yeah.
It has to be the level of importance. Which is wonderful for like what happened with CM Punk, where he was like, I was the champion for a year, and I didn't main event a single pay-per-view because of fucking John doing whatever the shit he was doing. Which, like, that's a great argument. And, like, a lot of stuff, my opinion on Punk is wibbly now because of the podcast he's done with Colt and everything.
Commander,
but, there's... Because his number one thing in that is, like, there's two sides to every story. Like, there's my side and then there's, like, their side. And there's not. There's three sides to every story. There's Punk's story, there's Vince's story, and then there's actually what happened.
The actual story.
Yeah, and like, so I don't believe anyone in that situation.
No.
There's no world where anyone's right, but like, the internet's just like, nope, Punk is Jesus. What he says is right.
And see, like, I feel like that's how it is, like, with especially in wrestling.
Mm-hmm.
Like, with anything that gets said, there's always the three sides of the story.
Yeah.
There is what this is, there's what this is, and then there's actually
and then
what
somewhere
it is.
they meet in the middle to what actually happened.
Which is why every time I've said anything in this entire episode, it's been like, and this is what I have just heard. Like, I do not know if it's true. I am just telling you what I know from my personal experiences with shit. And they are very different than anyone else's.
Right.
Because, I don't know, I was part of it. I was there for the whole thing, but I was never really ingrained in it.
Right.
Like, I left wrestling with some really great friends. The Travis Stykes, Travis Lee, two great fucking friends of mine, man.
Yeah.
And fucking John Morehouse, fucking amazing dude, fucking, like shirt off his back type of person, will look out for me, help me if you have a problem. He's a fucking great dude. I met him through wrestling, and the reason, he's the reason why I got started working for a website called GonzoGeek.com, and that's why I get to go to Comic-Con every year, and so, like, that's...
I'm jealous of that.
No, wait a minute.
That just pissed me off is what it did.
Wait a minute. Here you go. You think you're jealous of him now. Do you want to... The gift's still online somewhere, isn't it?
Oh, it's on my phone.
Oh, motherfucker. Here you go. Wait a minute.
So I went to Comic-Con, and
This is
I
great.
wound up interviewing the girls from the Suicide Girls, because they do a big giant burlesque show out there every single year.
Wait.
And I became friends with one of them because she's a big giant Harry Potter nerd. Mm-hmm. Her name's Sunny. Fucking lovely girl. She's super cool. I love getting to see her every year when I go out there. But the video's online where I interview her. Her and another girl named Jennings.
It's a good interview, too.
Who Lisa Jennings is her stage name. She does stand-up comedy now out in L.A. Fucking hilarious girl. But yeah, so the interview's there, and then like they had a really good time, and they were like, "Hey, come to the show tonight." So I went to the show, and as I'm standing there, they do this thing where they pull somebody up on stage, and Sunny's the one that does it, and I'm like, "Hey, da da da," and she's like, "Yeah." And so she pulled me up on stage to get a lap dance, and so I got a lap dance from a Suicide Girl in front of about 200, 300 people at Comic-Con.
Yeah, you guys can't see what I'm doing, but I'm just staring angrily at Hunter right now.
I mean, I shit you not.
I'm upset.
I saw it on Facebook. Like he'd shared the stuff or whatever. And
Like I'm fidgety now. Like, ugh.
Listen, I'm trying to find the... Stop making noises, phone. I understand that I plugged you in, and that's what's happening. But, because again, that's all because of John. Like, John saw a different side of talent in me than, just wrestling. So, he, offered me up to these people that ran that site, and because of that, I eventually, when I went back to school, I started doing comedy again, and when I went to Comic-Con that first year, I just started meeting people, and I was like, no, this is really what I'm supposed to be doing.
Right.
And, like, so I was telling you all, like, I don't regret anything that happened. You know what I'm saying? If I could go back and make those choices again, I absolutely would, because if I hadn't made those choices then, I would not be where I'm at now, which is, doing comedy, and I'm about to do the web series, and, I've got a name for myself in the comedy scene. Like, not a huge name, but like, it's a bigger name than I ever had as a wrestler.
It's going to be, like, it's on the rise, too.
Yeah, and so I'm very fortunate with the way that things have worked out for me. So you'll never hear me like regret anything that I did because things had to have happened that way. Because if they didn't happen that way, that specific way, I wouldn't be where I'm at now. You know, like I said, every single time that I had a title, I was supposed to hold it forever.
Right.
But things happened, and I didn't wind up holding it, and that was it wound up being for the best every single time. Because it wound up telling better stories, it wound up giving me better opportunities, you know, in a much larger scale. So that's, you know, like that's where I'm at.
I'm done.
Yeah, sorry, I just showed him
I'm done.
There's a GIF online of the lap dance.
Don't go watch it. You'll get mad. That's what'll happen.
We'll attach it to the. We'll put a link to it in the description.
Yeah, there you go.
Jesus,
it's ridiculous. Like I saw it, and like even with Holly sitting beside me, I'm like, holy shit, I hate Hunter.
Yeah, that was a weird thing that I did.
Well, getting to the comedy thing, I knew you were always like funny even back in school and stuff. I knew the wrestling stuff.
That was what I was excited for when you decided you were coming on the podcast was just the comedy thing because I'm really
See, I don't think he knew the whole wrestling, all that stuff that went on necessarily, like how big of a part it was.
Yeah.
But the comedy thing, like, which you know, I ordered the CD like when you first came out with the one. I was like, I saw it online, like part of it, and listened to it, and which part of it helped because, like, especially when you did the part when you're talking about your dad.
The dad, yeah.
The dad part, because I'm sitting there going, I know Cotton.
Yeah, and that part does that particular bit does really well around here because people know my dad. And again, it's not one like I preface the joke with the fact that my father again is an amazing.
Oh, he is.
Amazing
he's a
dude.
wonderful
like,
man.
Again, like he took care of me. When I was I'm a piece of shit. I'm awful. Like I am just the worst type of person in the world. Like, but he was not prepared to raise a child like me. You know what I'm saying? Like
I'll be honest. I don't know that I expected it to be you either. Like, because you know, if at first I was gonna think I thought it would have been Aaron
doing comedy.
No, not comedy. Just being like
your dad. What I am now.
Yeah, what you are now. Which, you know.
And it, but like, it, you know, like, Aaron spent a lot of time with Dad, and, you know, and I was bullied a lot by my brother growing up, so I spent less time with Dad because that's where Aaron was.
Right.
So I spent a lot of time with Mom and Sis, so that's why I fucking love baking and shopping, and, like, you know, like, I love going shopping, dude. Like,
like, you have no clue. I hate him. Because he will put random shit on
just
pictures of food that he fixes where he's just like, I feel like making this fresh frittata or some shit. I'm like, what the fuck? Who the fuck sits at home?
I was raised, like, our whole family was raised in the kitchen. I mean, we own a bakery.
Damn good bakery.
The family bakery recently was voted the #1 bakery in the state of Virginia.
Yes, it was.
I put that plug out on everything.
Yes, you did. But, I tried to share it as much as possible.
Yeah.
Yeah. So like we owned a bakery, and when I was growing up, my mother was a caterer. So like again, I grew up in a kitchen, and so because I spent so much more time with my mom growing up than I did with my dad, that you know like I picked more stuff of like that up.
Right.
But like again, Dad's an awesome dude, and so that joke works particularly well because people know my dad and they can hear him saying that. But that joke works outside of the area because everybody knows somebody like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, no. So comedy. Yeah, I did it first. When people ask me how long I've been doing comedy, I was like, the short answer is 3.5 years. The long answer is 8.5 years with a 5-year break where I was a professional wrestler. Because I started doing comedy. I did comedy for about 6 months, had no fucking clue what I was doing, and just quit. And that's when I went to the breakup, and then that led to getting into wrestling. And then, you know, I left wrestling and went back to acting is really where it came from. And then as I was at ETSU in the theater department, one of the teachers said the phrase in class, like, every actor should be able to do stand-up a little bit. It's just like a skill that you should be able to have.
I heard the same thing when I was in theater at Alice.
Yeah, and I was like, I've done stand-up before, and I was like, maybe I should dust off some of those jokes. And I went to a random open mic in Bristol, and I've been on stage ever since, and figured out how to do comedy.
And it's fucking awesome.
Yeah. Well, thank you very much. It needs work. Like I'm so happy that so many people like My first album, being the person that I am, I nitpick the shit out of it. I love about half of that first album. The middle chunk, I think it's like tracks 3 through 7 or something like that, 3 through 8 or whatever. I fucking love those, but like the shit at the beginning and the shit at the end is like because again, I'm always gonna do that. I'm always gonna nitpick things, and the audio could have been better and I was very fortunate that got crowdfunded. Everybody, the people were really happy and excited for that album, and then I started doing the web series.
The web series
based off of my comedy and my shitty love life.
That's the thing.
We actually went to the little late
premiere.
He was
late
there.
night picture show.
And like my girlfriend, Pablo and I had talked about it before, and like he had shown me originally, and then like we saw that online. My mom actually showed it to me, and she goes, "Hey, don't you kind of know that guy?" And I was like, "Yeah, that's Hunter. What the fuck?" And like we went, and she loved it, and she thought it reminded her like just that little proof of concept, a lot of Louis.
Yeah,
with the way it's kind of the stepping up with,
and that's what I'm aiming like for that idea, because you've seen like there's been shows like Seinfeld and Louis and to a lesser and shittier extent Mulaney, where these people are stand-up comedians, and it's also like they're showing them doing comedy, but it's also showing them like living their lives.
Right.
But there's never been, to my knowledge, and I haven't but all of those characters already have some modicum of fame.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Seinfeld was already famous. Like the character of Jerry was already famous.
Before.
Louis was
was already huge by that point.
And Mulaney worked for a fucking network, was a writer for a TV show in the show.
Right.
So, but it's never like there's never been a show where it's
you start off as
somebody doing that, but also having to go through the day-to-day grind of like I'm also a student. Because I spent 2 years while I was a comedian also being a college student, where I went back to school as a fucking 30-year-old. And that's real weird. And so, I'm surrounded by fucking 18 and 19-year-olds. And, I'm just like up here like, hey, guys, I'm old. So, because that Comic-Con thing happened when I was talking about that. And I was like, I met, that was also the same Comic-Con where I met Edge. Because he had just gotten put on Haven. I was at a party. Sci-Fi was throwing a party for Haven, and I was there. And I got to meet like the cast and crew of it, and I wound up talking to Edge for a while. And I just interviewed Roddy Piper at another convention. It was in Knoxville. So like my favorite thing to talk to with wrestlers that have done acting is the difference, because I've done both.
Right.
And it's a very different world, and I like to get that reaction for like that thing from them. So I went up talking to Edge for about 30-40 minutes just about like wrestling and acting and just the world or whatever, and like that was awesome. And I did that, and I got fucking pulled up on stage and got lap dance and fucking interviewed Patton Oswalt, and like these fucking Patton Oswalt's like my fucking like comedy idol, and like I got to do all of these cool things. And then I came home and like was just like at home, and nobody knew who I was again. And I was, what I'm saying? So like that was like a weird, and it's like that's like that in particular was one of those things that I wanted to show, where it's like I'll be on stage and I'll get off stage and everybody will be like, man, yeah, fuck yeah, woo, that was awesome. And then I'll come home and it'll be like, well, you're gonna clean up your dog shit now. And like nobody knows who you are still. Like, so every time I go on tour, I meet awesome people. Then I come home and I'm like at a bar and I'm just like, nobody knows who I am here. Like that's so yeah. And so like I wanted to represent that side of things, because there's a lot more comedians doing that than doing what Louis and Jerry and fucking John Mulaney are doing. So I wanted to try to show that with the web series, but it's my own personal experiences, but like trying to find the funny in it, dealing with family, dealing with my niece and nephew, well, just my nephew in the show, dealing with your friends, and trying to date, which is fucking always the worst. I don't recommend it to anybody.
No.
Just stay alone.
Like that's so. Again, I put that up. I put that the proof of concept up on Valentine's Day. That was the day I decided to release it on Facebook, and it caught like wildfire. Yeah. I was because it had been on YouTube for about 3 or 4 months before that.
Really?
Yeah, and I hadn't really like shared it around or anything, but it was just there. And then finally I put it up on Facebook, and it caught. So I was like, okay, cool, yeah, let's do this. And so I set up the Indiegogo. About 2 days later, we hit our goal in the first, I think, week. first 2 weeks, I think.
That's insane.
It didn't take long.
Yeah, and so because of that, it stays open indefinitely. So if anybody ever wants to give money to the Forever Alone web series, you can. Since we're about to start production, I think not this Sunday,
Yeah, I
but
was gonna
next
say-
Sunday. Yeah, we're shooting the pilot episode next Sunday.
I saw where you were looking for like.
Extras.
Yeah, I thought about
stuff.
thought about showing up that, and I was like, no, I'm not going to do that.
Actually, I would have.
You
Like,
just gotta stand in the background.
no shit.
guys.
I was going. We'll be gone.
Oh, okay.
Me
yeah,
and you.
yeah.
We'll
But,
be in Pigeon Forge.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we're about to start production, and again, we hit our goal, but that's been, trying to find a production crew to do it, and
Right.
Everything you plan on certain expenses to happen, and then
There's always an
Yeah.
unexpected.
So we hit our goal, and that was great, but more money's always cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, and there'll be a link to that, like in the description of the YouTube video.
Yeah,
Like,
absolutely.
All that'll be there.
Indiegogo, just go to Indiegogo and type in Forever Alone.
Help go
I believe
fund
you'll
it.
find it. And Forever Alone is on again my YouTube page. You can find that, but there's a Forever Alone Facebook page. I'm pretty sure it's Forever Alone web series
I think
on
it's
Facebook. I don't know my own links. I'm really bad at that.
Yeah. That's why I have him.
Yeah,
I mean,
I had that happen to
it's
me.
like even with like the blog and stuff. Like sometimes like people see me out in public and like realize that I write that or whatever, and then they'll be like, hey, I was gonna tell one of my friends, what's your link? And I'm just like, go find me on Facebook and
Do
look
that.
around.
Yeah, I was on a podcast in Columbus, at the Whiskey Bear Festival that a friend of mine runs. A couple of friends of mine up there run it. But there was a podcast called Whiskey Deep. It's run by Tom Plute. You should look it up. It's real fun. But what you do, he has a bunch of guests on, and you drink whiskey the whole time. You just kill a bottle
That's
of whiskey.
awesome.
You just take shots.
That's nice.
So we did it during the festival, and then at the end of the night, they drank that first bottle, and it was a bottle of Bullet Rye, and I came on last, and so by that point they'd already taken all the shots, and so I got one shot of whiskey, but I knew that was going to happen because of so many people. So because of that, I was just pounding whiskey and cokes at the bar before I went up, and so I go up, and he's like, "We're out of whiskey, but surprise, here's an entire bottle of Jack." And so then we killed that whole bottle of Jack in about 10 minutes, and so then at the end of that, he does a trivia show. Where everybody brings a prize for the prize pack, kind of like Doug Loves Movies. Everybody brings a prize for the prize pack, and then you pick somebody in the audience to play for.
Right.
And I'm super competitive, as we've discovered on this podcast. I will fucking destroy you. So I got plowed drunk and then proceeded to kick everybody's ass at trivia. And then at the end of the night, they were like, "Plugs, who's got some plugs?" And I was like, "I got a web series. Look it up. It's called Forever Alone. Look up on Facebook. Hey, bye." I was like, I've got Facebook and Twitter and Instagram, but everybody follows me on Instagram, so do that. Find me on Instagram. Also, web series. Do that. Hunter out. It shows a lot of fucking fun though. So I recommend.
See, we could do that.
Yeah,
If
look up
somebody
whiskey.
was.
That's what I'm doing.
Well,
I'm just pounding beers.
if somebody was of legal age, we could do that.
All right. When I turn 21 next March,
In
we will
7
do
years, when
one.
you turn 21,
yeah.
we will
this
do
fucking
one.
13-year-old sitting between.
Me and Hunter over here getting the senior citizen discount.
Yeah.
And,
By the time you turn 21, that's
I'm a young lad. This is
the United States won't exist
Yeah.
anymore because
Yeah.
Trump was elected. The legal drinking age will be a symbol because everyone will have forgotten what numbers are. Shit.
oh shit!
I don't know what I'm more jealous of: the Patton Oswalt thing,
I know what you're more jealous
the
of.
Suicide Girls thing, or the Edge thing.
He's basically living your dream life,
Yeah,
at least away from here.
yeah.
Away from here. Now, when you're back here, you kind of have the same life because
Yeah,
nobody knows who the
it's-
fuck
yeah,
you
Like
are.
I'm gonna go home
real.
and play Xbox, and people will like me on Monday when I post shit, and then fucking forget about me the rest of the time.
I don't know. Getting noticed. No, it's not. It's weird, and not to I'm not. I don't think I'm some kind of amazing or anything. I get recognized while I'm out, and I still don't know how to deal with that because people recognize me from comedy. Even when I was a wrestler, I would get recognized while I was out in Kingsport and not know how to
Right.
deal with
Yeah.
that at all because it's a really weird thing where they know you and you have no idea who they are, and you don't want to be like a dick.
Yeah,
So so usually this is my number one thing. This is wound up becoming a great story. My usual thing is when somebody says "Hey, I know you. You're a stand-up comedian. You're really funny." My go-to response is always "Thank you very much. Thanks for coming out to the shows." one time, it didn't go well. This girl and her boyfriend were like walking on the street, and I was walking, and they were like, "Hey, you're Hunter. You're a stand-up comedian." And I went, "Thank you very much. Thanks for coming to the shows." Which she didn't give me a compliment. She just stated that I was a stand-up comedian.
Oh, Jesus.
And I was like, "Thank you very much." And I was like, "That you didn't say anything to me." And I just kept walking. And then as I kept walking, I tripped and almost fell. And I was like, "Nail and fame, Hunter. There it is. High five yourself." Oh, damn it.
Wow.
Yeah, it doesn't get easier. There's a reason why it's called Forever Alone, and it's because everybody, all of my friends, all of my guy friends that I have lived with, I will cook, just randomly. You talked about that with the pictures and everything. So I'll just randomly cook, and all of my guy friends will eat it, and they'll be like, "God, how are you fucking single?" And I was like, "Because I opened my mouth." That's pretty much, that's the killer diller right there.
I start talking, and
and
it's straight downhill from there.
That ruins everything. The natives are getting restless.
It's cat chasing time.
Yeah. That's what caused the debacle
The
last
debacle
week.
last week where we had a
Jesus.
pack of wolves.
We had a fucking stampede through here.
I feel like it's coming. Yeah, you come up here and lay back down and lick your couch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, maybe not. Maybe not the
Lick
couch.
the
You don't have
couch.
to lick the couch.
Lick the couch again. But yeah, no, I've been very fortunate in my world of wrestling and comedy that I got hurt, but I never got hurt in a really bad way.
Yeah.
I never suffered a really bad injury, like a lot of people have. Like, I fucked my back, my knees, and my shoulders up, but like never in a way that I never had to take time off. Everything that happened to me was to my brain, which is probably going to be like the bigger problem. And then, like, if we've learned anything from O.J. Simpson, it's probably going to be the bigger problem. But like, I was real fortunate in that sense that I got out at the right time. I could have kept going forever. But I didn't see it. I didn't see because Josh talked about, how it was the most profitable time for the entire company, and I never made more than $20.
Right. That's what
if I make $20 at a comedy show now, I've fucking like. But back then,
without putting your body on the line.
I'll go do 10 minutes of comedy and get paid $20. Whereas, like, I would go and have a fucking 20-30 minute match, falling off ladders,
broken ribs.
Yeah. And that show I didn't even get paid for. I didn't get paid for the one where I got my nose busted and my broken rib at the Fun Fest show. But that show pulled in, and Robbie talks about it in his fucking podcast, where like the fucking city cut them a check.
Yeah.
For thousands of dollars that they made on that show, and none of us saw a fucking penny of it. And we were the ones out there busting our fucking balls for it. And that's a thing. That's just a thing.
Yeah.
That's just what happens in wrestling, which is bullshit. It shouldn't happen in wrestling, but that's just what does happen in wrestling. So, like, my number one thing is I've been asked to come back a couple of times. I make it explicitly clear every single time that I'll never work again. But, like, to be brought back in as like a manager or a commentator, which I did for a little bit at NWA Smoky Mountain. But it was like my number one thing is like, dude, I'm not doing anything for free ever again.
Right.
I feel like I've earned that right.
Yeah.
Like to be fair, everyone has earned that fucking right.
Yeah.
Everyone's sacrificing their fucking bodies for you. You're making bank. Fucking pay your athletes. It's so. Wrestlers get treated like shit, and wrestlers talk about it all the time. You're not an employee; you're an independent contractor.
Right.
Like you technically don't get fired. They just decide to not use you anymore.
Right.
It's not a company. That's not how the contracts are structured. So like, but there will never be a fucking union for workers.
No.
Because there's always going to be scabs. They're going to cross that line.
Oh yeah.
They'll never be able to unionize because
right.
everybody just wants drastically to be noticed. So they'll just fuck them. If they're not going to do it, I'll do it. And that's just the way that wrestling is. And we've learned over the years that that's bad. What the fuck was happening in Chris Benoit's brain?
Yeah.
What the fuck was happening with Eddie Guerrero? He juiced himself to death. All these people fucking have like killed themselves for this industry for not a lot of money, a lot of recognition. They get that fame and that's what you want. That's that fucking that fucking vein in your, like the fucking needle in your arm, that fucking pop from the crowd. That's why you do it.
It's that drug.
Yeah. But like, people aren't looked after.
No.
And like I got 2 concussions in a week. That week I made $20.
Damn.
Because the one show was a charity show.
For something that's going to affect you literally the rest of your life.
Yeah, and it has.
Yeah.
Like again, I can chart my memory loss back to that first night at Volunteer. And like, I'm not trying to like grandstand or anything, but like fucking pay your workers, like like they're out there. Anything at any given moment, something can go fuck ways.
Yeah.
And you can die. You can die for $5.
Yeah.
I don't know, it just bothers me. I don't know why I randomly got on this kick.
No,
I don't know why I randomly got on this kick.
Well, what's
but like,
funny is like today, like I'm sitting in the truck working or whatever, and so a lot of times I'll just like hit YouTube and I'll put in like shoot interviews or just whatever or anything. And Samoa Joe, it was God, I can't remember the Sam guy show that's on Sirius.
Sam Roberts.
Yeah, he had MVP, Loki, Joe, and Homicide all on there together. And Joe basically said the same thing about, look, I'm a private contractor. We all worked our ass off and did this, and the reason we got some of our respect is because we would tell people we're not working for that shit.
Yeah.
You're going to pay us this, or we're not coming and we're not going to do this.
And like, I wanted to be a team player,
But at what cost?
Yeah.
Yeah, but at the end of the day, you got to get yours.
Yeah. So I don't know. Everybody, not to say that promoters make fucking tons of money, but promoters make more than workers.
Oh yeah.
And I could be wrong because I don't promote wrestling shows, but I promote comedy shows, and I know I make more than the comedians that are on my shows.
Right.
Because I book them and but I also I try to pay my comedians. Every once in a while that's not worked out, but like, you always try to, but they're also not taking fucking chair shots to the
there's
skull.
a difference between...
They're gonna stand on stage talking about their balls for 5 minutes.
There's a slight difference there.
Yeah, it's really they should be paid more. The fucking teachers should be paid more. The fucking football stars should not make $100 million.
No, they should.
I don't know.
And like here, like the football stars thing, and most professional sports for that matter, especially ones that involve a lot of like combat type stuff like that, like, they'll always go into it, or they'll retire and say, well, I didn't know that was going to happen to my body. I didn't know. I need to be confident.
I hate that shit.
That's bullshit.
And
okay?
I love football.
Yeah.
I mean,
from the
obviously.
point,
My stance about football is this: like, I love football. I love football, but fuck football. Football's fucking dumb. Football's real fucking dumb, especially if you look at the NFL. Like, man, at this point, again, I will watch fucking NFL every Sunday, but like, at this point, it's reached a point where these people are just committing crimes, and not all of them. They're just committing crimes, and they're still making more money than my mother or father will ever see in their entire life.
Yep.
And that's fucked up that they can just continue to do that. You know what I'm saying? And like, everybody wonders why athletes are doing so much of this stuff, especially football players, why they do these violent things. And I was like, they've literally been taught that this is what they're. If you're a football player, and you're in the NFL, you've been playing football since you were 5 fucking years old. You've been having full-on collisions with people before your goddamn brain was formed. And that's fucking real stupid. I played football. I loved playing football. Again, I have no regrets about playing football.
Right.
But it's real fucking stupid. And then for people to be like, I don't know why they're doing these things. Well, it's because their brain's fucking broken.
Yeah, like if you go into it, or if something bad happens and you're out here trying to protest football and you played football, you knew what the fuck you were.
But at the same time, it's not to like say that what they did is okay.
Yeah.
With all the shit that they've done is okay, but it's just like, man, fuck, dude, like, do something. That fucking argument of like, well, I don't know what we can do, something, anything. Don't just stand idly fucking by. Like,
because I've made the statement, because like, for like 8 years I coached high school football up at Twin Springs, PM and stuff, and like, because you have to take all those courses like for concussions and all this other stuff. So like, I mean, I just think, we play football because obviously me and you play together. You'd have a headache or something, and you didn't think nothing about it.
you had a concussion.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay,
That's what
but
I'm saying,
then I
like,
go through all these training things, and I'm going, shit, I played like every game with a concussion.
Yeah.
Like,
So that's what I was like. That's what I was saying. I didn't realize that I'd had so many concussions.
No, I'm
until
the
I
same
got
way.
that shit awful one in volunteer, and then it was like a fucking light bulb had shined on my entire life, and I was like, "Oh no, I've had a bunch of these."
Yeah, I was the same way. Like when
That-
we started
that was-
studying, I'm going, and I'd see some of them get hit, and I'm like, I know what this is.
I mean,
and then
that-
they go,
that was-
well, he's got a concussion. I'm going,
That was
holy
the one
shit.
thing I can say. Like I came out unscathed in
You
that
did come
fashion.
out, yeah.
Like I broke an ankle, fucked up my knee, but I didn't. I never had a concussion, thankfully.
This is changing this.
I snapped a collarbone, broke a rib, and fuck, what was the other thing? Oh well, that was my back. I fucked my back up in the last game that I ever played.
Yeah, my back's
my back's never recovered from that. And it was a weird thing. Like you were there
This
at
is
the game.
it was the Floyd County?
The Floyd County game, yeah, that big son of a bitch that fucking
Yes.
ran all over us. He was coming around on a kickoff, and like he blown past everybody, and I hit him and came to a standstill. And so like boom, we stuck,
Oh, he
and my
was
feet
huge.
were in the ground. Again, smallest person on the goddamn
Yeah.
team.
Oh, yeah.
I hit this big son of a bitch, and we just stopped, like and I was dug in. And about that time, all the people that had missed him on the team came around and caught up to him, and then jumped on his back, and it went like that.
Yeah.
And the whole pile,
I remember that.
pile rolled up on my back, and it was right next to the sidelines. Thank God, because I just flopped over off the field,
Yeah.
and couldn't breathe, and fucking piece of shit Coach Roberts was sitting there, but like, get up, and I was like, you can eat a dick, like,
Well, it was like when I got hurt the first time when I fucked my knee up. That game where I hit the fucking water cooler. Yeah.
Okay, it's the funniest damn story. We're
All
playing
right.
Norton, and I'm up.
Okay,
because I go up in the box, and I was on the headset with Dad.
He
doing
was
offense.
he was the guy that was calling shots to make sure I got the ball. So very first offensive play of the game.
I'm like, hey, throw it out here to him. This kid can't guard him.
Throws me a little like 10-yard out. I catch it, and like the biggest motherfucker on their team, Malik Miles, hits me, like drives me into the sideline.
We still gain like 10 yards on
Yeah,
the play.
we get the first
But
down.
Norton has
They got one of the
No
big,
shit.
like the metal coolers things, like big fucking cooler. They had to wheel it around on a metal frame.
How'd they get
it
the
looked
minutes
like a
around?
horse trough.
Yeah.
On
Yeah,
the thing.
he drives my knee into it. Like, pad came up, and I'm laying there. And like, I'm like, fuck, dude, my knee's ruined. This is bad. And one of their coaches, super nice guy, talked to him a lot since then because of refereeing football. Super nice guy, real buff motherfucker, picks me back up and says, good job, son, smacks me on the ass and sends me out there. Our quarterback, Clay's trying to call a play, and he's sending me in motion past him. And I'm like half limping, like trying to get off the field.
Got this.
And he fucking snaps the ball, and it was another play to me. So I like hobble down the field, and he throws an interception, and I just fucking dive at the sideline.
Yeah.
Just get me the fuck out of here.
No, that night after that game, I was at Shoney's of all places with Lane, Justin Lane,
Right.
a great friend from high school. We were at Shoney's, and I was sitting at the fucking food bar, and my back just quit. It just quit. I collapsed on the fucking floor at Shoney's, which is never a floor you want to be in.
No, that's not a that's not a
So
safe.
like I just hit the ground and
It's
just
not a
like
safe
started like
floor.
not being able to breathe, and I was like, I did something bad, and I never saw a doctor because I'm like an idiot, but like I fucked my back up real bad. So then every once in a while, like I'll twinge my back, and I was like, that was because of my last football game. So
I will say two things. Well, you know what's funny? One thing that's funny about that ball game is
Nothing was funny about that ball game.
Well, there's
Not a goddamn
no,
thing.
it's like
that
this.
goddamn football was a
First
Greek tragedy.
Hey, no, listen. First fucking play of defense. We lost our all-state linebacker. Charlie tore his ACL.
Yeah, first play. First play.
First offensive play, I got my ankle rolled on. This was kind of the funny part, if there could be a funny part from it, is, like, I hurt my ankle. Well, like, Pat tried to tape it up. Well, we recovered a fumble, so I had to go right back in with, like, pre-rep dangling. Anyway, we get stopped or whatever, come out, get it taped. We lose, like, 17-3. And go to school on Monday. And my ankle swelled up. I can't wear a shoe. I got, like, the air little side cast thing that looks stupid as shit. It's not even like a cool air, but it's like, just like the
it
strips
wasn't
on the
the cool
side.
ass ones
Yeah.
like I had.
Well, everybody at school's like, how's your ankle? I'm like, sore? I mean, you know, what the hell? And like, people are calling my mom at work going, how's Jason's ankle? Well, they announced on the fucking radio that I broke my ankle and was still playing in the fucking game. I'm like, yeah.
You were just this big
Oh,
fucking
no!
hero.
After I heard that, I'm like,
Goddamn,
oh,
I'm-
you damn
yeah,
right.
yeah,
That some bitch snapped in half. I played the rest of the
I'm
game.
a tough son of a bitch is what I am.
Well, it was like my senior year. break my ankle like right before the first scrimmage of the year.
Yeah.
Like completely crack it in half. I came to school, like obviously you drove me home that day, like drove my vehicle home, and Mom's like, all right, we have to go get this x-rayed, like this is probably fucking broke. So we go and see the x-ray, and it's like, okay, yeah, obviously I fucked my ankle up. So I come to school like, I don't know, a couple weeks later, because I'd been trying to just air boot it, and I'd realized like, oh fuck, this is way too bad, like real bad. So I go, get a cast on and everything, and like hobble into school trying to get up the steps, and everyone's like, oh, your ankle all right? You gonna be able to play this week? And I was like looking down and shit. They're like, that's not a real cast, is it? Like you're fine. Does it look like I'm fucking? Everyone thought I was faking and shit. Like, oh.
I will say, two of my favorite plays that I ever had a part of in football, you were a part of.
Yay!
And one of them is a JV game.
Oh fuck!
And it is against
Was
Abingdon.
it that 40-yard
Abingdon,
fucking 40-yard quarterback?
no
sneak?
shit. They took all the good players away from us. I mean, it's just
Because it's
honest.
JV, it's
Yeah,
what you do.
but we had a decent little team if they let us have everybody. Well, it got to a week where I guess we had people hurt, whatever.
There was like 14 of us.
There was 14 of us. I felt like playing at Twin Springs.
Yeah.
And literally, our only offensive play that worked that whole night was I was playing center, Hunter was a quarterback, and
I called him audible.
Shockley told us, he goes, anytime it's open in the middle, you two just run.
Well, no, like, well, see, because after that first game, he, like, okay, football's like a lot like wrestling for me. I was never the best person on the field, but I had a mind for it, so I understood. Like, so I was quarterback on the JV team, and they never let me play quarterback on the main team because of this very reason. I, at the JV games, would get a play called from the coach, would go up to the line and go, that ain't gonna work.
It's true.
Call an audible,
It's true.
and my play would work. So, like, I would audible almost every single time.
Yeah.
I might as well have just gone up to the line and called it at the line like fucking Peyton Manning.
Which
but
sucked, actually, because then what would happen is Hunter would change the play. Well, then we didn't have the brightest group of people around us. So,
Yeah.
so like, the whole time, the guards and the tackles that are beside him going, we're running.
what are we doing?
What do you call? I'm like,
What are we doing?
we're running 40. And I'm having to try and win. 48.
Yeah.
We're running 48.
But I know. So we were. It was a fucking shit. It was rainy.
We beat Abingdon 6-0.
6-0.
Really?
Off of a 40-yard quarterback sneak because it was wide open. And I was like, man, fuck this. We're gonna go. And I'm just like, I didn't even call it.
No,
I just
I
patted
got
it on
the pat on
and
the
just,
ass.
and just immediately took it and just took off 40 yards.
Clay
40,
Collins
like
special.
I was not even touched.
No, it was
even,
great.
I ran a
It was
40-yard quarterback sneak. Wasn't
The
even
greatest
touched.
part about it was the only two people on the entire field that knew what was happening were me and him,
Yeah.
because the rest of the teammates, our teammates, were going, "What happened? Where's Hunter?" And I
He's
went,
in the end zone.
"There, guys."
I am in the end zone, man.
But there was that one and the Powell Valley, the Powell Valley that I
It's
love.
called the play in my family.
Yeah, the play. It was awesome. I wish you'd have scored.
I was fine that I didn't score.
I
You
wish
didn't
you
even
had though.
score?
For
You gonna name something the play?
I
not even
went
score?
72 yards.
72 yards and didn't
didn't score.
Got caught it like
I
the-
thought I was fine. I got caught. Here's the thing, though. Here's why I'm okay with what I got caught by. I slowed down, but the guy that caught me was like a state champion in the fucking 100-yard dash.
Was it Sheldon?
I think so. Yeah, he's the
And he
one
was
that
also
caught
on
me.
roids.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So like he caught me, and I had slowed down because I thought I was fine. But that's the number one thing. Don't ever slow down. But like I had slowed. You can see me like go, hey, and then I got tackled. But like, but no, I broke a play for 70 yards where
It's
everybody.
red. I can tell you the exact play it is. It was red because I was on unbalanced. I went to the left side and it was like 25.
Yeah.
And
that
I
was
just
too
remember
bad.
thinking, well, damn, they're going to give. In all honesty, I swear to God, this is what I thought. Damn, they're giving Hunter the ball.
Yeah, which didn't
Didn't, because the two back in our offense never got the ball.
they
Like
were-
he was
they were-
just there.
Well, I
was
was also
power hazard.
I was
That's
also
what
the
you're saying.
only split in, well, two back
Yeah.
that would run the ball because
Yes.
everybody else was tall and thin receivers, and I was like shorter and faster, and like so I was the only two back. I was on offense because I knew the plays.
Yes.
Again, like I said, that mind. So like they would tell me a play, and I would fucking know it, and I would go in and call it, and da 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 da. So I would spend all week running the other team's offense and
Yeah.
defense. Even though I was on first string, I would spend the whole week as the other team.
Because he knew the plays. And
Yeah.
it didn't
Yeah.
matter.
So every single week as the other team, I would go out against the best linebacker in the state at practice every single day. and break his ankles doing the same shit that I did in that play. So like every time, I've had so many people be like, I've had so many people like, I don't know how you got free. You were bottled up and everything. And I was like, as soon as I grabbed the ball, I was like, oh, I'm breaking this. Like, it was one of those where it's like, I do this to Charlie fucking 3 times a day during the week. I was like, I'm just going to make him over pursue and cut back. As soon as I grabbed it and looked up, I was like, pfft. And so then I just like slowly trotted and made him over pursue and then planted and cut back up the middle. And
it was 72 yards.
Yeah, in the state. No, the
regional
championship. And then they ran it again and ran it again later in the same exact play later in the game. And I took it for like another 20 yards, but somebody fell. Like one of our own players fell into me, and I tripped over him. So like,
in that ball game, he had like 2 rushes for like 90 yards.
Yeah.
Yeah, he had a hell of an average that game.
Well, I mean, I had a hell of an average period my senior year.
See, like that's what fucked me, and Dad and I talk about it, and even when I graduated and we had our little football banquet or whatever, we were talking about it. His dad was the one that said it. He goes, he would have probably been one of the best players to play here, but he's the biggest what-if story we ever had. Because I got hurt. I missed half my junior year, the last half of my junior year, and the first half of my senior year. I think like in those, like we talked about jokingly, like, hey, I've got another year eligibility. I'll come back and play sports.
I don't know. I wound up being an all-district honorable mention in other. Like they were literally like, it was. They didn't know what to classify me as because I didn't play offense. I didn't play defense full time. I played literally every. Yeah. At one point or another, I at least practiced every single position on the field. In games, I played over half of them. In games, I played over half the positions on the field. So I don't know. My senior year, I averaged 12.5 yards a carry.
Damn.
And then my last carry ever, that Floyd County game, I got 1 carry. It was that same exact play, and my feet got tangled up with the quarterbacks, and my last carry ever was for a 2-yard loss. And I was like, son of a bitch. God damn it. But, it's whatever.
Right. We got questions?
Yeah,
let's hit the question.
We have like...
We're running on, 2:15 at this point almost?
Yeah, this is like one of the longer ones for
sure. I don't
sure.
give a shit.
I've been
sitting here and talk to Hunter all day.
Xander, one of our guy that runs the Wrestle Matter stuff, so he's talking about thoughts on the
Jerry Lawler's suspension.
I don't know what happened.
Okay,
there was like a domestic assault
and his wife both got arrested.
Okay,
and basically she said that he pushed her up against the wall, threatened her, and all this other stuff. Put an unloaded gun on the counter and told her to kill herself. And then she basically kind of beat the shit out of him, scratched him down his face, and all this other shit. So they charged them both, and WWE has indefinitely suspended him.
I feel like this is the end for him.
I mean, it's a good decision, especially what we were talking about with the NFL. You cannot be even slightly light on domestic. You can't even slightly be seen as being light on that. You know what I'm saying? Like they have been for too long. The company has been, if something like that happened, how they had the drug shit, right? And then all the drug shit happened, and then Randy got caught for steroids a couple. Randy's basically hit his 3 strikes, but because he's Randy and he's profitable, they've kept him, and they've found ways to argue around what he's done. But if it had been anybody else, he'd have been gone. They can't. We talked about this earlier. They're a global company.
Right, that's what I was going to say.
They need to be better.
They are a publicly traded company, so they can't have bad publicity.
Yeah, so if something like that happens, they have to be tough.
You have to execute.
You have to immediately be tough. You can't ever be seen as being light on something like that, especially what happened with Hogan. You can always go backwards.
Exactly.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? People can fucking America. If there's one thing America loves, it's a fucking comeback story.
A comeback story.
Just look at fucking the Ultimate Warrior. You know what I'm saying? The Ultimate Warrior was a piece of shit for the majority of his life. But then you take away all of that, and then you have that one last month of his life. And then he's
damn.
And then you take away that one month, and now he's got a fucking award named after him
Yeah.
for people that have great honor and integrity
Yeah.
and fucking
Oh, I
spirit.
know.
So
And it's
like you
crazy
can
to think.
always come back from something in this country, but they have to be viewed as tough.
Yeah.
They can't be viewed as the fucking NFL where they gave
A slap on the
was
wrist.
it Greg Hardy?
Greg Hardy.
That dude that like suplexed his
Yeah.
girlfriend onto a bed of loaded
A bed of
guns.
loaded guns. Like,
and then
it would
fucking-
start off as 8 games, then
and
got
turned
dropped to 4.
and then so like man, fuck that. You have to be viewed as tough, and then you can always work your way back.
Right.
Like, but shit. If what she said is true, again, 2 sides, 3 sides to every story. So
Yeah.
like, but she is pissed. Because nobody knows what happened in that situation. I don't know what he says is true. I don't know what she says is true.
Yeah.
But do what you got to do, and then work the fucking facts out. Fucking suspend him indefinitely.
Yeah, find out what happened. If everything wasn't true, that's fine. You can move your way back. You can bring him back in.
Yeah.
But don't say, okay.
Don't
here's
say,
the-
well, we're gonna wait and see.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's gonna stay here.
You gotta
and
take
we're
a
gonna wait.
stance.
You got to take a stand, and oddly enough, the WWE, a fake, quote unquote fake fucking sports organization, has been more on the front lines with people taking drugs, with people assaulting women, with people saying fucking horrible shit than
Yeah.
people like the NFL have. So good for them for making that stance of immediately shutting that shit
Shutting
down,
it down.
and like you're off TV now. If we could just find a reason for Byron Saxton to get his shitty ass off TV too, that'd be fucking amazing.
100%
Yeah, I would
agreed.
love the shit out of that. God, I hate Byron Saxton.
Corey Graves in her place of Byron
Oh
Saxton.
man,
Please, Corey.
We
Graves.
love Corey
oh
Graves.
no. Corey Graves is gonna have his time, but like we need to move up Renee Young.
Yeah, I like Renee.
Renee Young needs to be a commentator.
Yes.
She needs to not
She's
be a backstage
earned her-
interviewer anymore.
she's earned-
Every time that she was at the commentary table, NXT, she fucking murdered. And like, I don't know, like they're gonna keep fucking around with her until she leaves
Yes.
and goes to a better job.
yes.
So they need to fucking lock her shit down now and give her a fucking job that's worthy of her, which is the first female lead commentator
Yeah.
for the WWE.
Oh,
Because
yeah.
she's fucking good enough and she fucking deserves it.
Oh god,
like she's
great.
real goddamn.
I
good.
love like the pre-shows and stuff they do.
Oh,
and she's
she's
the panel host.
amazing.
She's
Yeah,
great.
she kills it every single time.
yeah.
And it's a different perspective, and she's funny, and she's fucking gorgeous, and god damn it, she's really good at her job.
I know.
So, like, reward people for being
Fucking-
good at your job.
Fucking Dean Ambrose.
Yeah.
Dean Ambrose. He's also good at his job. So, like,
Yeah.
I can understand why
Yeah.
that's a thing.
Yeah. What else you got?
Next one, it's back at him. Bray Wyatt talking about losing a lot of weight. How do you think it'll affect
The
his
picture
return?
of him that we saw yesterday?
Yeah.
This means the second time, every single time, when he was Husky Harris, they pulled him from TV because he was too big.
Well, this time he actually got hurt,
Yeah,
but like
yeah.
this time he's coming back.
Did he
and
fuck up his shoulder or something?
no, it
What
was his foot or ankle.
Yeah.
Anyway,
I mean, as a big, he doesn't need to be, he can be whatever size he wants to be.
yeah,
Like
His character
but
is so good that it
like,
makes up for it.
yeah, and so like if he loses weight, he's still intimidating.
yeah, and then like the
So
picture.
if him losing weight is his decision, or if it's like a company decision, it's fine. But like that's
I think
fucking,
this
It's
is one of
really-
those it's his,
yeah, it's-
but
it's really-
like
it's more like
he
he-
has lost weight, but it's not like he's lost weight.
yeah.
He's bigger.
He's
That's what it
big.
is.
He's not looking. You remember when Zach Galifianakis lost that shitload of weight? He didn't even look like himself anymore.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's
It-
not. It's not that.
No,
It's
no,
I
kind
haven't
of,
seen the pictures.
It's kind of like the
No,
Samoa Joe
he's-
thing.
Yeah,
Like he's always
it's like
gonna
a
be
Joe
big.
in shape
yeah.
type.
Well,
yeah.
Joe's Samoan. Most Samoans are always going to be thick.
Oh, yeah.
like. It's just they are a thick, they are a dense people. That's what I. That's what I. Like, I love
They are
how
dense
the Samoans do headbutts. That's what they do because their heads are denser than other people's. That is, which is what it is.
It's
like,
true.
Like
It's
so, if
true.
like if people like if like a normal person headbutts somebody, it's like headbutt. But if like a normal person headbutts a Samoan, the Samoan's always
Samoan,
okay.
yeah.
Like, you ever notice that in
Yeah,
story?
that's
There's
true.
always there's the denser people.
Unless it's a coconut.
Yeah. Then you're out.
Yeah.
But no, my thing was I just wish they do Bray Wyatt needs like they need to do something.
Here's the
with Bray
thing:
Wyatt.
they do and they don't.
Yeah,
Here's the thing about Bray. At any given time, Bray can be the biggest thing in the company
yes,
just because he's that good.
yeah,
Everybody's like, "Oh man, they fucking buried Bray." Bray could show up tomorrow
yes,
and still be the biggest, like fucking. Oh my god, what's happening in the company? But regardless of, he's never won a feud ever. He's never won
No,
a feud
he
ever,
has not.
and everybody's still scared of him
yes.
because he's that good.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like Undertaker, it came from it was in a very different time, and
Right.
where Undertaker immediately won the belt, but then like Undertaker didn't do a goddamn thing.
No.
For another like 10 years before he won the belt at WrestleMania 13. Yeah, against Sid. So like he didn't do shit from like 92 to like fucking whenever. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like it was a very long time between like title reigns.
Like
for
6
him.
years.
Yeah, and then after that, it was still like, you know, like if you're a good character, if you're very good at what you do, wins and losses don't matter.
Right.
Exactly.
Look, Mick Foley. Wins and losses don't matter.
Right.
They just don't. I won a lot. But that's just because the way that I was writing the particular stories, they would work out that way. I lost my.
It was, but the payoff you were going to lose.
My two big giant feuds I lost. You know, like I lost my fucking heavyweight title feud with Josh,
right?
And I lost my fucking feud with Teague,
right?
So like, but it does. But I still was strong as I lost that feud with Teague, and then immediately jumped into a fucking TV title program with Travis Dykes. So like, it doesn't matter if you win or lose.
Right.
Your feuds, as long as you're good, and fucking Bray is really good.
I love
like
Bray.
because again, he could come back tomorrow, and fucking he could show up at Money in the Bank and just cut a promo about how he's going to murder everyone there, and everybody be like, he'll do it, he'll murder everyone there. I believe he'll murder everyone there.
Kill everybody.
Like, and everybody's like, I just don't believe it anymore, but you fucking do.
And really, Bray is one of the only real characters left right now.
Yeah.
As far as someone that's just strong all the way through. Like, he doesn't have to do anything in the ring, and he's still going to be better.
But he still does great work in the ring.
Yeah.
And my thing with Bray is it's kind of like The Undertaker. They don't necessarily need the title to elevate their character.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, I want Bray to eventually get at least one title run, but without it, like, he's still important and part of the show.
Yeah.
What did he do? Did he have a Mania match this year?
No, he was hurt.
Yeah,
okay,
he got hurt.
But I was like,
look
look at this.
It was supposed to have been built up to him and Brock.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, because they had that one at was it like Elimination Chamber or Roadblock or whatever, where they still haven't run into each other, which that might happen at SummerSlam.
That would be, it depends on what happens with Brock.
Yeah, well, UFC. Brock's already signed the contract. He's coming in for SummerSlam.
Well, they got to clear him. The doctors, if they don't, if he takes his ass beaten from Mark Hunt.
Again,
Bret Hart was the goddamn United States champion, and he was not medically cleared.
That's a good point. But this is Vince in the new age.
Yeah. Well, this was back then. This was like a few years ago. Anyway, what was I saying? Yeah. Okay. His first two WrestleMania matches were against John Cena and The Undertaker.
Yeah.
He lost both of them, but they were against John Cena and The Undertaker. That's the two biggest names, arguably, in the history of the company.
Yes.
Yeah.
Those were his first two WrestleMania matches. So, he's fine. The company has the utmost faith in him.
Yeah.
He does not. Everybody, because of the internet,
yes.
Everybody has this fucking instant gratification thing. They want their fucking thing. They want their guy to be over. They want it to happen now. When fucking Kevin Owens beat John Cena at that first match, was the Elimination Chamber, where he beat John Cena one-on-one, and everybody shit their pants, and then John proceeded to beat him 2 times in a row, and everybody was like, "Oh, John fucking buried Kevin Owens."
He put him over the first time.
What was supposed to happen in the minds of the internet wrestling community? Was Kevin Owens supposed to win that feud and then be the biggest fucking wrestler in the company next to Brock Lesnar? If he beats John Cena, that's the next step, is Brock Lesnar. And Brock Lesnar destroys Kevin Owens. That character, the character that they created for Brock Lesnar, fucking murders Kevin Owens. But everybody's like, well, John just buries everybody. No, John put him over. John made him on his first night.
That's what we said last week.
Last week, we had 45 minutes of where we told everybody, this Cena is the company guy, and will push other people.
Yeah,
that's one of the big differences.
Here's the thing: you don't have to beat. When John was the U.S. champion and he was having all those fucking open challenges, which were goddamn amazing.
They were awesome.
You don't have to beat John.
You just have to be in the ring with him.
You just have to hold your own with him.
Yeah.
That's one of the
and then you're immediately over.
That's one of the biggest differences between, like we said last week, between him and Chris Jericho.
Jericho does not like to
Jericho does not work well in situations where he's having, he's kind of putting someone over. Cena
Jericho has
thrives in those
matches.
situations.
Jericho's a different entity altogether.
Yeah.
Because back when, sure.
Yeah.
But like now, the way that he tours and the way that he does things, it's a very different scenario for him. He doesn't like being on TV, actually.
No, yeah.
He gets pulled back onto TV because people are hurt. He does live shows. He'll come in and do live. He did a fucking huge live show run with Cesaro.
Well, he did one yesterday.
Like a year and a half ago.
This past weekend or
This
something.
past weekend.
I'm just saying he just did live shows.
Yeah.
He came back for about a month and just did live shows where he worked Cesaro. Didn't wrestle on TV once, but just worked Cesaro at live shows for like a month. And like he puts people out, but like he doesn't like to be on TV now.
Right.
He likes to just fucking do his goddamn Fozzy shit. I have to piss so bad.
Oh, you're good.
Okay, like
Yeah,
I was like, son of a bitch, 3 beers in.
Yeah, you're good. It's straight ahead.
Yeah, it's actually easy to find.
Yeah. No, like what we were talking about while Hunter's in there pissing. Because I guess you saw it. Where Jericho cut the promo.
Yeah.
Jericho put Ambrose over,
Yeah,
man.
like big time.
Which is cool.
And I mean, it had to come to that point eventually, just because of they've been kind of feuding for a while, and Ambrose is kind of kicking his ass.
Well, okay. It's like, I mean, I know we'll ask Hunter because we'll talk about Money in the Bank Sunday.
Yeah,
I feel like they kind of ruined the Money in the Bank ladder match.
they did.
Like Ambrose is winning.
Yeah, and that sucks because
I mean, I like him. I'm glad
yeah,
he's winning.
but like he's not. That's not the type of character I want in a Money in the Bank ladder match.
I'm fine with it. That part of it. It's just the fact that you kind of like spoiled it already.
Yeah, they already ruined it, which sucks. I mean, I'm sure it'll still be a great match. I mean, there's no question about that. But like, you've literally ruined it already.
Right.
Like anyone that looks at the internet knows or watches the show, they already know, unless they're an idiot.
Well, yeah, that's true. And if they listen to this. But yeah, Jericho put Ambrose over this past weekend at a house show. Like talked to
Like,
cut a promo.
like a
and,
promo of just putting him over.
Oh, so he was it like shoot-ish?
I think so.
Well, I mean, so did Punk forever ago when he was still
Yeah.
in FCW before it was ever NXT. Punk went down there and like handpicked to work with Dean.
Yep.
And so like Dean's gonna beat, but everybody's mad because Dean never wins. Dean never wins. Like fucking Mick Foley never won.
Right.
Like ever.
Well, it's like that's what I was telling him. They kind of, I mean, unless they're messing with their, they've done give away the Money in the Bank winner.
Yes and no. Like,
I still think
Money in the Bank's
Ambrose
always fucking
I think
impossible to
Ambrose
pick.
is winning.
It's fucking impossible to pick though. But that, you know what I'm saying? Like that's what you.
I know.
Think like look at rest of that ladder match for the Intercontinental Championship.
Or
at
just
my
look,
God.
look
Like-
at all of WrestleMania.
Yeah, like it's you believed one of two things was going to happen. You
Yeah.
believed it was going to be Kevin Owens or Sami Zayn.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what you believed.
Yeah.
And but that's the beauty of wrestling is that you
That's
believe
true.
one thing and you get that misdirection, and that's you can't make things super predictable.
Right.
They're all gonna have their time.
Oh,
Dean's
yeah.
gonna have his time. It's just funny that it's gonna come as a face. Like, it's gonna come as a face, but it was supposed to be him as a heel.
Right.
Like forever ago when they were
Yeah.
supposed to split up, it was supposed to be
Yeah.
him turning heel
Yeah.
on everybody, and then it turned into him being now he's like a goddamn folk hero.
Oh my
and like
God,
everybody
yeah.
loves him.
Who
like,
comes out and wrestles in blue jeans and a tank top?
Yeah, he's the new Terry Funk. But
Yeah.
it's I don't know. It's they will fucking let you believe stuff is going like that,
Right.
Just to swerve you, to use lingo.
Yes, they're swerving me. Also, though, they're also like the poster for the next one got leaked, and
That's
I
never-
know, but
Like, it's one of those things, it's like, okay, this either really
I
shitty
mean, I hope
or-
they do swerve me. I'm hoping it's something different.
or
And it's not just like, yeah, Ambrose wins, because I mean everybody sees the Shield thing coming.
Well, yeah, but like that's always going to happen. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? It's like the Shield's like DX.
It's got to come
Michaels
full
and Triple
circle.
H. Shawn Michaels and Triple H. You know what I'm saying? Like you can put those two together or pull them apart as many times as you want to.
It's your mother. I don't know why you got to bark at her.
You know her.
Yeah, There's no reason to market her.
Like, you can put those two together or pull them apart as many times as you want to, and it will always work.
Right.
So they don't have to. When they had that fatal 4-way, when Rollins first won it, where it was the Shield and then Randy thrown in there for fuck's sake.
Yeah.
Right.
That match was awesome. Like that match was real good, especially that moment where they fucking triple powerbomb Randy through the table.
Right.
And then they're all doing the fucking fist bump,
Yeah.
and then like they all just immediately turn on Seth and beat the shit out of him.
Right.
Like that'll always work. Those three will always, because they were such a great group, like such a dominant group, and like such great tight knit brothers in the way that their stories were told.
Right.
They'll always be able to come together and fall apart, and come together and fall apart.
The whole
like
the DX.
2 years from now, you're going to see the Shield come together as an entity again. You know what I'm saying? That's just that's because that's the way you tell stories.
Right.
And that's always going to work. So you don't need to rush the three of them wrestling each other.
Right.
That's what they're teasing. But some other shit's going to happen. You know, people have to come back. Fucking Randy has to come back.
Yeah.
Fucking Bray has to come back. Fucking Brock has to come back. All these characters, all these huge giant characters, important wrestlers in the company have to come back. That are immediately can be immediately inserted into the main event picture.
Storyline.
Yeah. And we're right around the corner from SummerSlam.
Yeah. Which they're banking on.
And,
Everybody being back.
And the brand split, too.
Yeah.
Which is going to be huge.
The brand split's going to be...
So,
I'm looking forward to the brand split.
I am, too.
Yeah. I believe it will create, especially with SmackDown being live now, it's going to create a different dynamic. Because it's live, they're going to put, I don't want to say better, because it's not like it was shitty athletes, but they're going to create a better...
It was the B-list.
Yeah,
it was
everybody
the B-list.
viewed it as the B-list because
and a lot of the
you could
times,
go in and edit it.
A lot of the times now...
But now you can't.
It's a lot of the times now, it's your more talented guys who may not be the bigger names yet. A lot of good talents coming to SmackDown.
It's going to have to be like people that they believe in on both rosters because they're both shooting live now. There's no fucking net, which there was always a net on SmackDown. For them to, go back and
cut this
re-edit
out,
promos or, like pipe in crowd noise for specific people or stuff like that. So, like, it's going to create a different dynamic where you're going to get to see the people that they truly do believe in, for the future of the company and what they're going to do.
Right.
And I'm interested to see what's going to happen with NXT in that whole scenario.
Yeah.
Because, again, I'm pretty sure, like, NXT is its own brand at this point.
Yeah.
And I've enjoyed that more lately, especially than what the main brand, I guess quotations, is doing.
Well,
but again, they're allowed to do.
They're
that.
allowed to do more there.
Yeah,
like
it's a different.
Yeah, it's kind of viewed. It's viewed as different.
It's kind of this middle ground between like the big WWE entity and an indie brand. It's right there in the middle somewhere.
And they've done a great job of cultivating that. But if they were to move all of that up to the big show, it wouldn't work. It would not work at all on that because again, people have been so used to seeing a certain type of show, a certain type of presentation. Like NXT is for I don't want to say grown men, but like it's not for children.
Yeah,
NXT is for.
Raw,
it's really for your educated fans.
Raw and SmackDown is for your families.
Yes.
An entire family can go to Raw and SmackDown and enjoy it. Not an entire family can go to NXT and enjoy it.
No.
Especially not their pay-per-views. They're fucking
the
takeovers.
And that's for a very specific type of wrestling fan.
Right. And because where they film and everything, they've created like this culture and this cult following.
Yeah, which makes me also want to punch all their fans in the face.
Like some things they do, I'm like, okay, that's kind of cool. But there's other things where I'm just like, this is fucking.
The fans go into business for themselves at NXT shows.
Yeah.
I'm like, it's not fucking about you and whatever chant you can come up with, you pieces of shit. Like that the one that got me was NXT Takeover Dallas. The Alphas versus the Revival.
Right.
Where that match is fucking bonkers good. And the one at the most recent Takeover is fucking
really
bonkers good too. They have a fucking breakneck match. Like it's boom, 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 spot, 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 and it does not stop. It's amazing. And then they do one spot and it messes up. They messed up one spot in that match that's going constant, full speed.
Right.
What's the audience do? You fucked up. You fucked
Yeah.
up. Shut up, you ungrateful dicks.
Yeah.
You're seeing one of the best tag matches
Yeah.
you've ever seen
Exactly.
in your fucking life, you buttholes. Yeah, they messed up. That's what happens.
This is like my man over here went ape shit.
Oh yeah, I fucking lost
The
it at
last one,
pay-per-view.
because you had, and I still don't know the damn name.
Yeah, but
The guys
you
that showed up to beat up American
don't
Alpha,
know their
I
name.
can't remember the name, but their manager comes walking out, and
legendary.
obviously
manager.
we all know it's Paul Ellering.
Yeah.
But and I,
Audience is like, who are you?
who are
Yeah,
you? And
I
I'm
got fucking.
Like, he's a fucking Hall of
furious.
Famer, you
What the
dipshits.
fuck?
Yeah.
yeah,
It's just a general, like, they miss the point. Like,
Yes.
they get it, but then they miss the point.
Yeah.
yeah,
Like, I don't know. It's all the indie crowds have always bothered me in that sense.
yeah.
Where they try to go into business for themselves, because they, like, the best representation of that was when they went to London, NXT Takeover London, and the British crowds are way different.
Yes.
You know, like, they're very like, with all that singing and shit, they can all just sing, because that's what they do over there.
Yeah.
They're
It's like
fucking
a
soccer. They're
game,
soccer
yeah.
fans, and they're all in on it. You know what I'm saying? So American crowds watch that, and so then when they did that shit in Dallas, American crowds tried to do that, but that's not. So, like, they just kept fucking it up. And I was like, y'all aren't, you know what I'm saying? Like, you're just trying to be better than another crowd.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Shut up and watch the matches and enjoy this shit. You're seeing a great pay-per-view right now.
Yeah.
Quit being assholes. Like, I don't know. I don't know. I don't like the internet wrestling community.
No, and
I hate the IWC.
well, this is what we talked about earlier.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like I, in all honesty, I thought I was like
I thought we were right
I
there.
thought we were internet wrestling fans, but then at the same time, now after like doing the show and like seeing like, okay, because I know you keep up with wrestling too. There's a guy, I think he's great. He's one of the best in the world probably right now, but it annoys the fuck out of me. The internet wrestling community basically
They worship him.
They worship him.
Yeah.
And Zack Sabre Jr.
I've not seen. I
Okay,
know who.
okay.
I know of him.
Those
I've
were-
not. I've
he's-
not seen because I know that. Apparently, I've heard that Kurt Angle match is a goddamn perfect match.
It is.
It
But
is.
I've not seen it
Here's
yet.
the thing. Zack Sabre Jr., and this is coming from someone, I really, really like technical wrestling. Like, I'll love, like, Spot Fest all day, but technical wrestling, like, I really, really enjoy that. And Zack Sabre Jr. is one of the best. One of the best to ever do it. But everyone licks his nuts for no reason. Like, he doesn't do anything fancy. He's not over the top. He really doesn't have a character. Like, nothing at all. But everyone fucking worships him, and it kills me. I hate it.
I mean, you know, there's an argument to be made that's been like Benoit was that there wasn't really a character with Benoit. They had to like build this fucking mystique around Benoit of being like, oh well, he doesn't talk because he doesn't need to because he's a badass, and
Yeah.
like that's true, but like I don't know, man. I don't know.
Like,
You can be a technical wrestler. Look at Kurt Angle and all the fucking beautiful character work he's done over his
Yeah,
career.
exactly.
Look at fucking Daniel Bryan and all the wonderful character work he's done over his career. You can be a technical wrestler. You can be a great technical. It's what we talked about earlier. This whole fucking podcast has been about. You can be a great wrestler. You can be an amazing technical wrestler. But if you don't have a fucking story or a character behind you, I don't give a shit.
Yeah,
Yeah.
If you can't find a way other than just wrestling ability, you know, straight up
Yeah.
to get over, because it like look, if you can be the greatest wrestler in the world, if I think you're as boring as a fucking wall over there, I don't give a shit.
Yeah.
Charlie Haas. Charlie Haas
Charlie
is one of the
Haas.
greatest wrestlers
Charlie
in the world.
Haas is a
But
great
I
wrestler.
don't give a shit.
Not one
Fucking piece.
fucking-
You know
like
who's
no
a-
one ever talks
You know
about
who's
him.
a goddamn garbage wrestler and always has been? Hulk Hogan.
Hulk
Yeah.
Hogan's terrible,
Hulk Hogan sucks out loud.
but
Yeah.
He's probably the best known wrestler
best known
ever in
wrestler
history of
history of
wrestling.
wrestling.
Yeah.
Yep.
Like so, if you can't, I don't know. You have to give me a reason to care. Give me a reason to care. That was the Ultimate Warrior.
Okay.
Ultimate Warrior sucked. Ultimate Warrior sucked out loud.
Tommy
something-
Dreamer sucked.
Oh yeah. Well,
Yeah.
no. Tommy Dreamer changed his style to be a certain thing. Tommy Dreamer, when he was back in his fucking neon tights,
Yes.
he was a fucking great worker.
He was,
but then he
man.
changed
That's
his
true.
style to be the Tommy Dreamer we know and love, and that feud with Raven and everything. But like,
That yeah,
he's a great technical worker.
you just
But
don't ever see it.
you never
got
you
to
had
see
to
it.
go way
So
back
then-
to see it.
Okay, fine. Then I got one that was horrible. Sandman.
Oh yeah, Sandman's
Sandman.
real bad.
Sandman was an entrance.
But I
That's
love
all-
Sandman.
Sandman
Like,
was-
as a
Sa-
kid,
yeah.
like,
Oh no! As a kid, when you hear
like you
Enter
got so
Sandman
excited
hit,
for
and
Sandman.
you're like,
Yeah.
oh shit's getting real.
Yep.
But like
And
you go back
Sandman,
and look now,
and
it's like, wow, his finisher was a leg sweep. This is fucking terrible.
it's Irish. What was it? What was it? The White Russian leg sweep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I did a leg sweep, but it wasn't a side Russian leg sweep. It was a side Irish leg
side
sweep.
Irish.
Yeah, that's the only one. Because I did a German suplex, and one time Dylan called it an Irish suplex, and I was like, no, it is a fucking German suplex. Because when I was a heel, I would do the 3. I used a lot of suplexes when I was a heel because, again, I changed my entire style to be much more technical and ground. Like, I would ground you a lot more when I was a heel. It was more methodical because I was the commissioner and the matchmaker, so I knew everyone's style. Like, you know what I'm saying? I'd spent 6-7 months as a commentator.
You had the kryptonite.
Yeah, I'd spent 6-7 months as a commentator, so I'd like seen everybody's style and what they were doing, so I knew. So I changed my style to represent that. I had a reversal for everybody's stuff or whatever.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
Yeah, which is what I built that character around. But yeah, I don't know. I feel like you're going to kill us at any moment.
No, she's good. This is changing the subject. You got the WWE Network?
Yeah.
Okay. You watched the Edge and Christian show?
I watched the pilot, and the number one thing that came out of my mouth is this is so Canadian.
Yes.
If you've ever watched any Canadian TV,
yes.
You know, like if you watched, was it the Tom Green show that eventually,
yes.
when he did just his normal one, and then he like got a talk show on MTV too, like MTV as well. It wasn't on MTV too because that's the thing. But anyway, MTV as well. Like people from Canada, it's just a weird style of comedy, and like it's so crazy that style of comedy is different than our comedy, and like British comedy is so different. But like I can understand why people like it, and I enjoyed it. I just haven't watched it.
I liked it. Well, what I was gonna get to is they feature Tommy Dreamer.
Yeah, Tommy Dreamer gets beat up every episode. Yeah. I've heard about it.
Well, he's also naked, like half naked, like, and it's awful, and they make fun of it, but it's hysterical.
Yeah,
which is great to see Tommy Dreamer like. Now he gets to show
around.
personality.
Yeah,
but we're big fans. I'm hoping they do another season.
They will.
Have you seen the fucking WWE camp?
Camp WWE?
Camp.
I
love it. Again, it's awesome. I love it, but it's so like
an adult show,
when you see
like.
And they tell you that when it's coming on, but when you see Stone Cold going, "Fuck you, motherfucker!" as a kid, and it's like they just said that.
I think my because I knew I wanted to watch it. It was the trailer that they kept showing or whatever, and it was Vince McMahon, and he holds up that bra, and he's like, "This is a bra. I can't wear a bra, probably." And that when he throws in the word "probably" as like an afterthought, I was like, "That's comedy gold." Like that's because he at least thought about that he might be able to wear a bra, and I was like, "That, God damn it, that's good writing." I can't wear a bra, probably. It's just the way that he was like, "I can't," because they would show it in different trailers where he was like, "I can't wear a bra," and that was the end of the scene. But then in other trailers, they would throw in the "probably" on it, and I was like, "Oh man, that's real funny." Ooh, I really want to see this show now.
Yeah, it's good. I love it. Do we have any more questions?
No, that's because we didn't like tweet it out really.
Your battery's on.
The computer's about to give up.
Really like make a big deal out of it this time because I knew like we would like this was more.
This was awesome.
Us shooting the shit and everything.
I will talk all night if you give me the chance.
Well, I don't give a shit. I'm still at 57% on the phone.
There we go. I don't know. I was a part of the whole thing, but I'm not a part of the whole thing anymore.
Right. No.
As far as local wrestling,
the local stuff,
and it wasn't just in wrestling in general. But I don't know. I found a different life. Life finds.
Hey, I'm looking forward to the web series.
I'm super excited about it.
Well.
I've written 5 really funny episodes, based off of like experiences that have actually happened in my life, but ramped up for comedic effect.
Oh yeah.
So I'm really excited to see what comes of it. Because again, my first love was always acting.
Right.
Yeah.
And I loved doing stand up. Stand up allowed me to find what I was supposed to do.
Right.
But I relish the opportunity to be able to act again, just because I hadn't got to do it in so long. And I mean, acting, like wrestling and comedy in their own way, are forms of acting, especially with what I did in wrestling. I was a character the entire time. But it's just not the same as going out and doing these, like, emoting. And I don't know if you've ever done acting, it's a thing that you immediately get bitten with, And, and you want to do it
Oh,
always.
It is so much fucking fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, and that, like we've talked about it too. Like because we were like, well, we can fuck around with the camera and just make random shit.
Yeah.
Like I'd love to sit there and do this stuff.
It's again, I love being able to do it, and the web series has given me a great opportunity to be able to do it, especially with with the majority of what the first season is. I'm using a lot of my friends to do it. I've not put out a lot of feelers for casting other people.
Right.
I mean, I've cast some other actors that I know that are really good, but they're not like my buddies and everything. But I've got Teague, former tag team partner. He's in 2 episodes.
I figured Teague would be.
Yeah, and a friend of mine that I used to live with, Josh Hawley, he's directing it, and he's also in 2 episodes. So I'm very happy that I'm getting to use my friends, and because that's if you're doing stuff and you're not doing stuff with your friends, then what the fuck is the point?
Yeah.
Like, man,
it's like having the best of both worlds.
Yeah.
You get to do something you love, plus you get to use your friends with it.
I know it's such a dude bro piece of shit show, but like Entourage makes me just want to be like, look, guys, let's all be famous and just take care of each other.
Yeah.
Can we not
That
just
would
all
awesome.
do
That
that?
would be great.
Let's not be buttholes like the guys on the shows, but like
Right.
let's just like be like Judd Apatow and like Seth Rogen and all them, and like let's all just make movies together, y'all.
Yeah.
And just have fun. How about that?
That was one thing after my girlfriend and I went to the late night picture show.
Yeah.
She was talking to me and she was like, "You need to." It's like she's like, "You could do this," because like I've fucked around with the camera and stuff before and done some editing for people, and I was like, I don't have enough friends to do that. And she's like, "Get Alex and DJ and all of them and make something." She's like, "You wrote shit, just go out there and fucking make it." And
That's what happened. I came back from Comic-Con last summer, and I just had this I was on this big giant positive swell, which I'm still kind of on, but life drags you down a little bit. But I came home as this fucking big ball of positivity and energy, and I immediately started to just push everybody that I knew to be like, fuck it, we're all here, we're all in the same area right now, we're all very talented, let's just fucking do stuff. If you've got ideas, just write them and we'll fucking do them. We'll do them right now. We'll grab a camera, I'll shoot it on my phone shoots in HD, we'll do it right now. And that's what basically, not to take full credit for it or anything, because we all wound up doing our own things, but that's what pushed that late night picture show thing into existence is us all just being like, fuck dude, we're all really talented, we're all here in the same area right now, for various reasons, so why not just do it? We've spent enough of our life just sitting around going, well, I mean, maybe we could do, but fuck it, do it.
I literally went home that night and she was at my house. I wrote 2 fucking screenplays that night just out of being fucking inspired.
Yeah. So it's just and so my number one thing is just man, just if you want to do something, fucking be creative. Fucking do something. If you want to do a podcast, make a fucking podcast. If you want to be a wrestler, go out and fucking find somebody to train you, not fucking price gouge you.
Not for $50.
Not for $50 to learn some headlocks. But go out and be a fucking wrestler. If you want to do comedy, find an open mic, do a comedy. If you've got a passion for something, if you want to try something, fucking do it, because you're gonna die. You know what I'm saying? That's just gonna happen. You're gonna die. So if there's something that you want to do, go and do it. And that's I've led a weird life. I've led a very weird life that I've been very fortunate to live. I've got to go to Comic-Con. I've got to interview my fucking idols. I've gotten to I was a fucking heavyweight champion. I was, I got to stand-up comedy. I got a lap dance from a burlesque dancer. And, I've had a very fun, very weird life. But you have to do it.
Yeah.
You have to fucking...
It's because you took the chance.
Yeah, you have to go out and fucking do it. And it's fucking real intimidating. Trust me. Even with everything that I've been very fortunate enough to do, I still get real scared and real intimidated. I was a nervous wreck, at the late night picture show, because I didn't know how people were going to view the films. Those films are very different than the theater.
The Room, I really, really enjoyed.
Oh, thank you very much.
But I really, your character, we were talking about that after we left. I was like, Hunter's character in that was fucking spot
It
on. That was
was.
exactly what it needed to
As
be.
a wrestling fan, you'll understand this and appreciate this. It was a combination of Vince McMahon and Paul Heyman.
Yep.
That is who I. As soon as I put that leather jacket on, I was like, "Oh, I'm Paul Heyman. Ooh, I'm Paul Heyman.
Yeah.
Like, I'm Paul Heyman and I'm Vince McMahon. That's what I'm going to be." And so that, yeah, it was. And that was the first time I'd done acting. That's the first time I'd gotten to act in about 2 years. Is when I did The Room. So, you know, as someone other than myself, because I'd shot the pilot the proof of concept for Forever Alone before that. But yeah, so I was very, it's very fun. I'm glad people enjoyed it because we shot that in November, I think.
Wow.
I think November, and it didn't premiere until June 1st or June 3rd or whatever.
Yeah.
So like we just sat you sit in a bubble with film versus like acting or comedy where it's like immediate instant gratification.
Right.
You hear from the audience, if you've done something right.
Right.
But we didn't have that when you make film.
Yeah.
Because especially with, like I said, with the proof of the veganism thing for Forever Alone, I shot it in June of last year. I shot it in June.
Really?
Put it out online in October. Nobody watched it.
I was gonna say I didn't know about
Yeah.
it on Facebook.
Well, I mean, again, I didn't really share it or
Right.
anything, but nobody watched it. And then I posted it in February, and it blew up. So
Oh yeah.
Like-
I saw it, and an hour later, he was coming over,
Yeah, we watched it like that.
and I'm
day.
like, "You gotta see this."
yeah,
Because I'd already heard the CD.
And immediately, after you showed me and I got home that night, I was telling mom and dad that I was like, this is super, super cool. This is going to be really, really interesting to see how this goes.
it will. So far, it's going well. That's all I have. But yeah, I don't know. Pay your people more, and if you want something, go get it. That's basically where I'm at.
I like it.
That's all I think. That's,
Yeah.
If there's a moral of this story, it's
Pay your people.
pay your workers.
Don't get concussed.
Yeah, don't ever get concussed, man. It's bad news. Bad news bears.
Bad news.
I don't recommend it. You
But-
enjoying that?
This is easily
The
our,
most fun.
our longest
Oh,
and
it's easily-
most fun podcast we've
Yeah.
done so far. So if you stayed and if you didn't stay this long, you're a fucking moron. But if you did stay this long,
Fuck you. If you did, I don't know why we're being rude to you.
No,
You pieces of shit.
but if you stayed around for all this, good on you. Thanks.
Yeah.
Yeah, seriously, thank you very much. I am useless. Thank you for listening to my ramblings.
No, and he can come back anytime.
Aw.
Yeah.
I don't know what the hell I'll talk about anymore.
It doesn't matter. We'll
Here's
come
the
up
thing:
with
I didn't even tell
literally
you
anything.
half of my shit that happened. I just rambled.
Well, it was before you you told me you were coming. I was like, we should probably write down some questions or something. And then I looked at him and went, nah, fuck it, we'll just talk.
Yeah.
And whatever, it works.
I remember, right before we sat down to record, I was sitting here and I was thinking, should I ask if there's questions? Nah, we'll just see what happens. And stuff happened. Stuff happened.
Yeah.
So we're good.
But yeah, we appreciate it, man.
No, thank you very much for having me.
I'm definitely hoping the web series works.
As
As an investor,
yeah, as one of the producers. Did you hit the producer
let's see.
credit?
What was this?
I don't remember what producer. Yeah, there were perks.
What was the $60 one?
Yeah, you're a producer.
I'm a
you're
$60.
a producer then.
I can remember what
Damn.
I
know
I
at
remember
least-
what I put in, but I can't remember what I
know.
get out.
I know at least 40 is a producer. I think it might be 20 is even a producer. I mean, producer is
I'm
a.
way up there. All right.
You might wind up on IMDb just as a producer
Yeah.
credit.
See, there we go.
There it is, right there. But
And I
you
think
too
yeah.
can be a producer.
That's it.
For Forever Alone if you find us on Indiegogo. Also, make sure to look for me on Facebook, facebook.com/The Hunter Show. Also, youtube.com/The Hunter Show. I'm on Twitter at Hunter Standup, and I'm on Instagram at Hunna, HUNNAHH.
Which is cool.
I crushed all of my fucking plugs.
That was
time,
awesome.
guys.
Yeah.
Yes.
Also, the We Are But Men podcast network on Podbean.
No shit. I'm sitting up here going, damn, he is.
That was
he's
solid.
rolling with this shit.
I'm usually really bad at that.
That
as
was
we talked
awesome.
about earlier.
Yeah.
I'm okay.
Got it that time.
Damn.
That was solid.
Gotta take notes, y'all.
Look up our shit on Facebook.
Yeah. all that'll be in the
We'll share all.
we'll
Justin
figure
will write it
out.
down for you. I can't.
I'll
We'll
have
do
it all
it.
there.
We'll
Jason
get there.
Castle is my name on Facebook.
Yeah. We'll all get there together.
I can't even remember my damn Twitter. Pablo Castle 73.
Yeah, there you go,
There
pal.
it is.
I'm not on Twitter a lot. I realize I use Twitter when I go to Comic-Con because that's just the normal way that people Twitter's a bigger deal than in bigger cities. It's not important where I live right now. It just isn't.
Like I use Facebook to share the blog and share this podcast. Everything else is on Twitter.
Yeah. It's just, I don't know, it's just a weird, because again, my shit was on YouTube in 4 months before anybody saw it. I put it up on Facebook, everybody saw it.
Yeah.
So,
Right.
just different social medias get different reactions from people. So,
But-
I've got more followers on Instagram than anything. Like that's where I get my follows and my likes. I don't know, it's a weird thing. But all those pictures get posted to Facebook, and those pictures get less like on Facebook than they do on Instagram.
See, we gotta start putting shit on Instagram now.
There you go.
I can do
It's all
that.
about the hashtags.
Yeah.
It's all about the hashtags.
Just tag Hunter in it.
Oh, that won't do you any good.
Yeah.
That won't do you any
Hunter.
good.
This guy come and talked to us for 3 hours about random ass shit.
About foolishness.
About foolishness.
Oh no.
Wow. It's an invasion.
Yeah. They're gonna battle each other. The
All right.
gladiators must fight to please.
Yep.
Okay, I'm
I
gonna stop
believe,
talking.
yeah, I believe that's going to do it.
That's it?
Yeah.
Thanks for listening.
Hope you enjoyed it.
Now we got to get the Travises on.
The Travi.
The Travi need
Yeah.
to come on.
Travii. Travi.
Travi.
Or Travis squared.
No.
No.
It is the
We're
Travi.
going to Travi.
We don't do math.
We don't
We don't do math around here.
What is this, man?
The reason why it's called "you have till 5" is because you can't count past 5.
On that
Square
note,
in anything.
on that note, we are out. Goodbye.
Peace.